All right. Well, the European Super League. The European Super League is a thing. It's officially a thing. So I wanted to be here and just to talk. Just to talk. That's basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking, all right? We're going to be talking. Look, I've made two videos on it. Two videos on it that are long. So I don't want to talk too much here, but it's a topic that we need to discuss because, quite frankly, this is essentially the future of football. And the future of football is important because, at the end of the day, football is a sport that we all love and we all enjoy. So it's one of those weird situations because we're actually watching history being made live. We're watching history being made live. And that's such a weird thing to see because usually you don't get that. You usually don't get history being made. You usually don't get you usually don't have the ability to watch history being made alive. So just seeing this, it's just like, whoa. I don't know how we got here, and I don't know what the future holds. But we are here. The European Super League is now a thing. It's officially a thing, right? Some may say football is dead. I don't know whether I agree with that. I don't know whether I agree with football being dead. Also, if anyone wants to join the stream, just direct message me on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll send you the link, and you'll be able to join. But because I'd love to have as many people on here as possible for this one, because obviously this is a situation that doesn't just affect Bayern, but that affects everyone. But here is the thing, right? For me, that's the key thing, right? Integrity. Someone brought this up right now. Humberton Bacon brings this up. I like that profile picture of Samus riding Yoshi. That's actually quite cool, if I'm being completely honest. But you have more integrity than the whole of the European top clubs. Good for Bayern, Leipzig, and PSG. My thing is this, right? And I've said this during my first video. I made so many videos today about this that it's actually getting on my nerves. But I made this during my first video. Also, AG, if you want to join, direct message me on Twitter so I can send you the link. If you don't have Twitter, direct message me on Instagram so I can send you the link. But Bayern is going to join. I don't know when, but Bayern is going to join, right? There is just so much pressure on this that I think Bayern right now, they're just kind of biding their time. They're just waiting. They just want to see, okay, is UEFA going to come through with their threat or not? And I feel like that's going to be the key thing. Is UEFA, with UEFA's threat of and FIFA's threat of we're gonna stop everyone from joining this thing. If you join this thing, then you're not gonna be allowed to play in the World Cup. And I feel like that's basically what Bayern is waiting. They're waiting to see how this all pans out. They're kind of just sitting back and waiting. Now, here's the thing, right? This comment right here. Does the 50+1 rule not stop us from joining? And it's not exactly the case, but it also is the case. The 50+1 rule is essentially the reason why we didn't join. Because for us to be able to join, the fans would have to agree with this. And the fans would not agree with this, right? Yes, there is like this whole thing going on with one second, just sending a few invites. As I said, if you want to join us, message me, and everyone's welcome, because this is not just a Bayern topic, this is a football topic at the end of the day. So everyone is welcome to join. But yeah, like as I was saying, right? The 50+1 rule is the reason why we've not joined. I fully believe that 100%. 100% that the 50+1, the fact that the clubs are fan owned, is the reason the clubs have not. There's a reason Bayern have at least not joined. Now, here's the crazy thing: Leipzig could very well join. It's as crazy as it sounds. Leipzig, they're not this evil club that everyone makes. Yes, they are. They basically just broke all the rules, but I actually think they're going to join. I think they're going to join because all their members, all their quote-unquote fans, that make it a fan-owned club, are employees of Red Bull. But the thing about Leipzig is, and the whole Red Bull concept is that they're not really money hungry. As crazy as it sounds, they're not really money hungry. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. Where can I join? Message me on Twitter, and I'll send you a link which you can join from if that's something that you're interested in. I love this word, integrity. It's such a nice word, but I honestly, I don't think we have that much integrity, if I'm being honest. For now, we do. For now, most certainly. But I think when the chips are down and this European Super League actually goes ahead, that's when I think the club will at least put it to a vote. At least put it to a vote of whether to join or not. Mesut Ozil, well, he became a Bundesliga supporter today. Well, nice to hear. Let me just add AG to the stream. Hello, AG.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I honestly think that this is a disgrace, if I'm being honest with you. What do you think?
I mean, this was a thing that has been coming for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I mean, there are comments going around with Wenger saying it, I think, in 2009. So it's like 10 years in the, 10 years at least where this has been a thing that has at least been thought of. And I always knew this thing would come.
Yeah.
But it's just so strange. Like, it just happened so quickly. So quickly.
I just thought that they would announce something like this, like maybe at the end of the season, but not like when we're in the middle of one. The timing seems strange.
Yeah. On a random Sunday, when the league isn't over, when there's still plenty to play in the Champions League.
Yeah. And like, there's been so many talks that, the Champions League this season could be suspended because of this whole Super League thing that's going on or something.
Yeah.
So like, apparently,
it's just a weird thing.
Yeah. So imagine if they crown PSG champions or something.
Last season already was such a strange Champions League campaign. This season is one as well. The Gamer, yes, you can message me on Instagram as well if that's something that you're interested in, if you want to join this. A lot of people are saying, obviously a lot of people are disappointed, understandably so. Actually, the funny thing is I've actually found that a lot of people don't care. There are a lot of people that are outraged by it, but then there are an equal amount of people that just simply don't care.
Yeah.
Which I find strange, but I also kind of accept, if I'm being completely honest. These big matches in the Super League will lose their value over time and start becoming normal to fans. There will be no such thing as dark horses or underdogs anymore. For me, that's the big thing, right? There is essentially one. There might be prizes for being first, but basically the places of second to 20th are irrelevant because, if you really look at it, you don't get the founding members don't get relegated, so there's no point for them to even be there, if I'm being completely honest, because right now in the season we've got things to play for. Well, we've got obviously the league to play for. We're first. But like even the teams that are second, the teams that are third, the teams that are fourth, they're trying to play for the European places, and then you've got the teams that are much further down in the table, and those are the teams that are trying to survive. There is no excitement if you're just playing big. If it's just big players against big players without any story, without any narrative, without any purpose, then there's just no reason for there to be football. At least that's how I'm viewing it.
Yeah, there's no like merit, they're like, if there's no relegation, so no matter which position you finish, you'll always be safe and you'll keep earning lots of money.
Yep. For me, the strangest thing is that it's all spearheaded by Florentino Perez, because Real Madrid, they own the Champions League. Let's not make a mistake about it. They own the Champions League.
Yeah.
Right? So for them to essentially break apart from the Champions League, basically getting rid of their whole entire history, because they're not league merchants, right? I hate that word, but they're not a team that is like known for winning the league or whatnot. They're known for they're known for winning the Champions League. They're known for being the record holders of the Champions League. So for this to be the case now, where it's like, you know what, we're just gonna break off from Champions League, to me that just seems like, why? And let's not even get about it. Let's not even talk about the teams that have joined that are part of this founding members, because I've got plenty of issues with those.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
No worries. Do you think this is bad for teams? And what about the titles? The history will end here. No Champions League, no fans, no football. Well, the Champions League will probably still exist. That's the thing. The Champions League will probably still exist. It's just that it's difficult, honestly, because the whole point of the Europa Conference League, like people have had many issues with the Europa Conference League, but the whole reason that existed in the first place is because of money. It's because of prestige and money. They wanted, okay, we want the bigger teams to play against each other because ultimately that will get us more TV revenue. And now UEFA has implemented that, but now we've got the European Super League. It's like, well, you didn't even try the new Conference League and everything that was going to go into effect next season. You essentially just said, yeah, you know what, that was a good idea, but forget that. So it's going to be bad for many teams. It's going to... If there are 12, 15 teams that have like this massive pool of money now that are gonna make this significant amount of money that nobody else can compete with, then you really have to think like they've got so much more money they can. Say Bayern does join, right? Which I do think Bayern will join ultimately. I don't know when, but I feel like give it 5 years at the absolute latest, and I think Bayern will join. Say Bayern does join, right? And Bayern now wants a player from Sevilla who are not in it. Bayern will have an extra, say, 400 million a year. They can now bid on that player that Sevilla owns. They can bid 100 million on just that one player because they've got that extra revenue. And Sevilla, they can't really compete with that. So this extra revenue that the clubs will get, it's going to create such an imbalance that I actually don't think national leagues can exist. I don't think like the likes of the Bundesliga, the Serie A, La Liga, Premier League, and Ligue 1, I don't think those can exist because there will be such an imbalance. There already is an imbalance, but the thing is that there's been, for most leagues, there's been like this balancing of the TV revenue. But now with this European Super League, we've already had that with the Champions League, that like teams that do well in the Champions League, they generally have more money, but that's because they do well in these cup competitions. But now that we have like these 20-team competition, this 20-team cup competition, it's almost and these teams in there get an extra 400 million or so a season. There's going to be such an imbalance of money that there's not going to be any competition ever. Like if you think us winning the Bundesliga, what was it like for the last 8-9 years in a row was bad. It's got you've seen nothing yet. It's going to be like since 2013 we've won it in a row. For the next, if we were to join for the next 20, 30 years, don't expect it to be any competition at all. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. That's just my thoughts on this whole thing, on this whole proposal.
I honestly think that we may, like Bayern could end up joining, and it's sad. I can see it happening.
It is very much inevitable. If this is a thing, unless FIFA actually stands firm, and if FIFA stands firm and says that if you're playing part in this European Super League, then you won't be allowed to ever play on an international stage again. That is the only way I can see top players not join it, because there is a prestige factor for playing international. I know fans, especially me, for example, as well, because I can only speak for myself. I don't really care that much about the international competitions, especially the friendlies and so on and so forth, until like the World Cup or the Euro start. But players do care. Players do care. You're playing for prestige in those games. You're playing for prestige. You're playing for your country, and that is something invaluable. So if FIFA stands firm, that's the only way I can see the European Super League crumble. Because the top players, they want to represent their country as well, and if that means not being part of the Super League, I can see them, play for their country rather than their club.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Super League, will it start next season or like the season after that? Oh, next season. Okay.
Next season, yeah, in August. That's the proposal.
Hello.
What if the internal conflict with Flick and Braz is also partly because of the Super League? Well, I don't think so. I'm going to be honest. I don't think so. This conflict has been, it's been well documented with Flick saying things to Brazzo that he shouldn't have, that are unprofessional. But Flick also been let down by Brazzo. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's firmly to do with like the transfers. Honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with the Super League, if I'm being completely honest. Bayern fan, how are you doing? What are your thoughts on this Super League that is being proposed?
So can you hear me first of all? Because I'm not sure if my mic is working.
It's a bit quiet, but yes, we can hear you.
What about
Yep.
now? Is it better?
Yeah, now it's
Yep.
better.
All right. So honestly, I'm really like disappointed, but this thing has been in the works for like a couple of years now. I kind of thought it was a joke at the beginning, but I'm not surprised Perez is the one behind it because let's be honest, Real Madrid isn't like the most well-behaved club in the world.
Yeah.
But like, I only really care about it as a Bayern fan, like because when it comes to football in general, I don't really watch like the Premier League or any other leagues. I only really watch Bayern games because I'm a Bayern fan after all. So I only see two things happening. Either we join the ESL, which I think we will win most of the time, seeing how weak other clubs are at the moment, or we don't join them and we still win the UCL for years to come. Because let's be honest, what other team is going to beat us? But the way I see it is, if UEFA really does sanction, if like they don't allow players to play the World Cup in Qatar, and they do that thing with if the teams that join the ESL, if they come back into the domestic leagues, they start from the fifth division. I doubt a lot of the players in the big teams that join the ESL will still want to stay in those teams. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I doubt they're gonna refuse to play the World Cup or things like that. I think they're just gonna leave, even if
I
they're
think
gonna have to sacrifice their salaries for it.
I think UEFA said that if any club that participates in the Super League, they'll be banned from the Champions League as well.
No, they won't be banned. They'll be banned like momentarily. I think they will be able to join after. I don't know.
Well,
These are just rumors for now, I guess.
well, the founding clubs, the 12 clubs that have joined and created this Super League, they have essentially to be able to join the Super League, they had to get rid of their European membership, and that means that they're not allowed to play in the Champions League and the Europa League from next season onwards. So they've had to do that already, at least from what I've read. So all these
Yeah.
clubs, all these 12 members, like the Real Madrid, your Barcelona's, your Liverpool, so on and so forth, they will not be in the Champions League next season, and that's guaranteed from what I've seen. So that's already
Well,
set in stone.
as far as I heard, like UEFA has to make a statement tomorrow because they're voting on the new Champions League format.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But I don't know. Like I don't know what to say. Like I'm shook. I didn't think this would happen. And plus, at this time as well, when there are no fans in the stadiums, like
Yeah.
I would say a lot more. But I know you're streaming on YouTube. There's words I would like to say that I don't want to say right now. But you know exactly what I mean.
On this channel, you can say anything. Freedom of speech exists on here.
True, true. For lack of a better word, they're pussies. But let's be honest, like there's a huge disconnect between the owners and the fans. Like they have nothing to do with football. It's all about money. At the end of the day, that's what football has become. And like there's a reason I may be biased because I'm a Bayern fan, but the reason why I don't like the Premier League is especially since they signed that new broadcasting deal. It's all about the money. Like
Mhm.
all the hype around it as well. This is what it has been leading to. I'm actually not that surprised this is happening, even if I am shook at the moment. It kind of does make sense, but I don't know how it will work. Like I don't know how the players would agree to this in the first place. Like that's what I'm thinking about.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree with you. There is a very interesting debate, though, being made about this Super League, and I wonder where you all stand on this about the domestic leagues, because obviously you mentioned that they would go back to the fifth league, and I think I've read that as well, that like the teams would be kicked out from their domestic leagues and be put into the fifth leagues. But if you're a football player, right, and it's like it's difficult to say because obviously we haven't had the Super League for a substantial amount of time. If you look back, it's like the European competition, and then when it changed to Champions League, people were up in arms about it. But then once people got used to it, it's like, okay, it's perfect, that's fine. Like nobody's going to complain about it. And I feel like the very same thing's going to happen to the Super League, where people right now are up in arms about it. And trust me, the same people that are going to complain about it, right? The same people that are complaining about it right now are going to be the first to watch it. They're going to be glued to the TV every time a match comes on, because that's just the way people are. They'll complain about something, but when it actually comes down to like, oh, let me make a stand and not watch it, they'll be like, you know what? No. I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Because my favorite players are playing. But if you're a footballer, would you rather be in this competition where you play against the quote unquote best teams in world football, which could result in you playing against, quote unquote farmers, fifth tier division players nationally, or would you rather play against the best teams nationally and still be eligible to play internationally for your country?
Obviously, the second option.
Yeah, the second one.
The first option, you got to be crazy. Like when you say the best teams in the world, I'm sorry, but Real Madrid and Barcelona, they aren't the best teams in the world anymore. Even if Real Madrid got in the semis, like it's just luck. It's PSG, Man City, and as far as I know, PSG isn't even joining, probably because they need to be in good relations with the FIFA for the World Cup in Qatar.
World Cup.
Yeah, there was some relations there.
So like these teams, the only reason they're considered big clubs is because they have all the money. Like I'm sorry, like a lot of my friends are Barcelona fans, but even they know their club is nothing now. Basically, they can't beat many of the European teams, like still in the Champions League now. Even the ones that have exited, like Dortmund, for example. I think Dortmund would beat Barcelona right now. As dumb as this.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it's all about the money. It's not about how big those clubs are, and people don't realize like maybe like you are right. People would watch it at the beginning. But after a while, it gets boring. Like the reason why big matches are so exciting is because they don't happen that often. If it happens every single week, why would I watch it?
Well, there is a debate to be made that if you're playing, each team twice, once home and away, yes, you're playing the same teams, homes and away, but you could make the same argument that in the league, you're also playing the same teams, home and away. For example, if you're Bayern, you're playing Dortmund once a season at least, home and away. You could make the same argument. Well, this is just the same as league, but with different teams, with quote unquote European top teams.
Well, yeah, I agree. But then, what makes those encounters special? Like you remove everything that's special about it if they happen week in, week out, because all the teams are quote unquote big teams, and I'm sorry, but how is this even remotely competitive for Arsenal and Spurs, for example? They have no chance.
Yeah, I mean, the other three teams that I mentioned in the ESL's, I keep saying the whole name. The ESL's statement was that three other teams are close to joining, and I think it was Romano Fabrizio, I can't even say his name, Fabrizio, who mentioned that the three teams that are in contention of joining and that are going to join, essentially, that are just like right now biding their time and waiting, are Bayern, Leipzig, and Porto. Leipzig I can understand because, again, them being fan-owned, the people that own it as quote-unquote fans are employees of are employees of Red Bull. So they can do whatever they want, if I'm being completely honest, in terms of like actually being able to get away with it. Porto, I don't know how their structure is. And Bayern, I don't know. I with us, I just don't know, because like the likes of Rummenigge, and but the thing is, Rummenigge is leaving as well. But the likes of Rummenigge and especially Khan, like he'll, his new era. So I can definitely see him like wanting to pull something that will take Bayern, quote unquote, into a new era, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I could definitely see like the higher ups wanting to do it, but I just don't see how that would work with the 50+1. Like it just it's not compatible because the fans would not vote for it. So yeah, I don't see it. But then you also have to think about the competitive integrity, because let's be honest, if all these clubs are making hundreds of millions more, why would any player join Bayern if they could join another club that that pays them, I don't know, 20, 30 million a year more because they get that money from the ESL, compared to Bayern, that isn't part of it. So I feel like they would ultimately be forced to. They'll ultimately cave in. So this step, it's going to be the end of football. Like, dominoes are going to fall, and people are seeing the dominoes people are seeing these dominoes fall, but I feel like we haven't seen the full extent of it yet, and we'll only come to realize that in a few years.
I'll give you a few good reasons as to why, as a player, you wouldn't go to the ESL. One, if UEFA really does apply those restrictions, like playing for a national team, I assume means a lot to a lot of players,
Yep.
like even the big ones. So I don't think they would give that up just to make more money. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, some players are greedy, some players aren't. But I think at the end of the day, I'd say pride and stuff, it goes over money, at least for me. But yeah, I don't know. And something that people are overlooking is like the UCL. Like, it's not just about the money; it's also about the history. Like, it's been like active for so long. The competition means something. It's not just about the money. Like, the trophy itself means something. As a player, what does the ESL mean to you? What would winning the ESL mean? Like, if I was like Neymar or something, I wouldn't give a crap about the ESL and winning the title. That trophy doesn't mean anything to me. The UCL, however, there's like heritage behind it. There's history. It actually means something. So I don't see the point.
Just to talk about Carl Mamari's point, that he's expecting some players to talk, and to some players and coaches to talk about this tomorrow. I think Klopp in 2019, he was asked about the Super League, because again, this has been a thing that's been going on for a long, long time. But he was asked about this, and he said that he doesn't want a Super League. There are obviously just one example, because I'm just reading from all the fan bases and whatnot, because obviously everyone's coming together for this one. So like, there are plenty of people out there, plenty of coaches and plenty of managers out there. Also, goodbye, AG, until later. But there are plenty of people out there that are against this. There are plenty of footballers out there, plenty of coaches out there that are against this. Now, here is the thing. If you're an employee, right, and it's easy to say that from someone that doesn't, someone that that isn't directly affected by this. But if you're part of a football club and the club has decided to join, if you're part of one of those 12 football clubs, would you as a player or would you as a manager talk up? I would. I'll be honest, I would. There are so many football clubs out there, and you're making so much money already, that like speaking up about it and maybe getting fined or maybe just getting kicked out from your club is worth it. Now, it's easy for me to say that because I don't have a family to feed. For me, it's very simple. Like, the money I make is for myself, and I've got plenty. So if I was a footballer, that would be my fault. But like, as someone that has a family to feed, so on and so forth, this might be a different situation as a footballer or as a coach. But I don't know. It's a moral discussion that it's difficult for me to answer.
No,
people are going to speak.
I definitely think like some players are obviously going to speak up in the following days. There's going to be like petitions and stuff between players. If not, then I'm going to be very surprised if that's not the case. But I do think something will happen for sure.
I'll say this. If I wake up tomorrow, because I've got a terrible sleep schedule, but if I wake up tomorrow, basically I wake up at like 8 p.m. UK time, and I sleep at like 8 a.m. So I sleep 12 hours or so, and I wake up at like night. So I've got a terrible sleep schedule. I know that. But if I wake up tomorrow, I expect certain players to speak up about it. The likes, for example, I expect Bayern to release a statement. I fully expect Bayern to release some sort of statement, even if it's just acknowledgement, like we're not part of it, but like they're not going to promise anything like, oh, we'll never join it. Anything like that, I don't expect. I don't expect Bayern to like put a foot down and say, no, we're never going to happen. Because truth is, it's going to happen. You're going to look like a fool if you say it's never going to happen. What I do expect is for there to be some sort of statement about Bayern from Bayern, like, oh, we've seen your concerns and we'll raise them internally. So something silly, like something that is like so minuscule and so irrelevant that it doesn't convey anything, but it just acknowledges the situation. But I expect certain players to speak up about it, and those are the players that are mostly captains, people that have leadership. So from the 12 teams, right, just to go through that list, I don't expect anyone from Arsenal to speak about it, if I'm being completely honest. I don't expect anyone from Tottenham to speak up about it. I expect Ramos isn't being given a new contract, so he can say whatever he wants, if I'm being completely honest. So I almost expect him to speak up about it too. But besides that, how many like outspoken players are there? Thomas Muller, perhaps, yeah, I can see him speak up about it. But how many other teams are gonna? How many other players are really gonna speak up from those 12 clubs? I can't think of any players actually. Is he gonna speak up about it?
I think so.
I don't see it. I don't. I think Goretzka is a lot more likely.
Yeah, I
than
see
Kimmich.
Goretzka doing it too. I don't know. I just hope everybody speaks up about it because that's what needs to happen, I guess.
But you're shooting yourself in the foot if you do it as a player. Because if you speak up about it, right, and then say it does go, it goes ahead, and now you've spoken up about it. You're like, oh well, the European Super League is the worst thing ever since sliced bread. Well, actually, no, I do like sliced bread, but the European Super League is the worst thing ever. And then your club joins it. Are you gonna leave? Are you gonna be the hypocrite that's gonna stay in after you've said all these things, or are you actually gonna do something and stand up for it? And if the Champions League is basically non-existent anymore, then yeah, I mean, honestly, then you're gonna be a hypocrite because you're gonna stay. You're gonna be in that ESL.
Well, I mean, if you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. But I'd rather speak up about it and have the risk of being a hypocrite than endure the risk of ruining football completely. You know what I'm saying? I think the risk that the reward outweighs the risk. Like if the reward is canceling the ESL, then I think the risk of being a hypocrite is worth it at the end of the day because they're still gonna make the money. So why would they care if they're hypocrites or not?
Yeah, but I don't think these players, their voices are not that heard. We can say all we want, but their voices are not that heard. Like these players can say whatever they want. Ultimately, the only people that decide are the club owners. that's just the way it is. Like all these clubs that have joined, majority of them is are owned by someone, by either a party or by a company. Majority of them. So like whatever the fans have to say, that's the whole reason why I think like whatever the fans and the players have to say is pretty much irrelevant in the big scope of it all. Because you hate the ESL? Well, we're joining the ESL, so you can leave us. We'll just buy someone else with all the money that we're making. So I don't think the players are going to speak up. I think there'll be like one or two players, but players that aren't playing for like these big clubs, I think they're going to keep quiet for now and just observe.
Well, you're usually right with your predictions, so
Usually, except
usually,
2021.
yeah. No, but the way I see it is a big part of this is clearing up their debt, like especially for Barcelona and Real Madrid. Just the billions in debt that they have. They have to do this basically. I think they might do it for a few years and then they're gonna revert back to the old system. But if UEFA like punishes them, I don't think there is any going back. How am I gonna see Real Madrid in the fifth tier of the Spanish league and players not playing in the World Cup? I don't know what's gonna happen. Like nobody can predict what's gonna happen. If you want my honest prediction, this is what I think will happen. I think they will like the ESL will happen, but UEFA will also like apply sanctions and restrictions. I think they're going to apply all of the sanctions that were listed and possibly even more. I think a lot of players are going to leave from the big clubs, and hopefully Bayern wins the next 5 UCLs, and then we become the greatest club ever.
With no other club in there.
Well, I mean, Real Madrid already shot themselves in the foot with what they did these past few days. I mean, how could you respect them as a club? especially their owner Perez. And if none of their players say anything, then I'm gonna lose even more respect for them. But yeah, I don't
So
know.
here's something interesting I found from 2018. And that is that according to football leagues, 16 European top clubs, including Bayern, plan to sign a letter of intent later this month to start plans of establishing a new Super League. Bayern have even made a check of international law in 2016 on how to leave the Bundesliga and the Champions League. So that was from 2018. This is why I'm so confident that like Bayern is going to join. It's oh wait, that article from 2018 goes even further. Sorry, the new Super League starting from 2021. Wow, that is spot on. Starting from 2020, and this was written in 2018, would put an end to the current format of the Champions League. Bayern, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool FC are amongst the club mentioned. Oh boy.
But how would they go around circumventing the 50+1 rule?
That's the big question. The big question. I don't see how, but it's gonna happen. I don't see how, but it's gonna happen. It's kind of weird. Like I don't see how it's gonna happen, but it is going to happen. It's just set in stone. It's gonna happen eventually, but I don't know how.
I just hope you're wrong on this one. I'm gonna be honest.
Money runs football. Always has, my friend. Always will. The Super League is a great idea and will revolutionize football, but they should have included an MLS team in it if they really want to have world. My goodness, my goodness. All right.
Yeah, I don't think you should say anything for this comment. I don't think he deserves a reply.
I don't know whether he's a bot, because I've seen plenty of bots on Twitter that have said like the European Super League is a good idea, but this one says great idea. So I don't know whether it's just the YouTube version of the bot.
It's probably a bot.
This comment is exactly the problem. They're like Americanizing football, like it's American corporate greed blended into football. Like you know how the MLS is, right? They have no relegation. They play playoffs and stuff. It's exactly like the Super League.
Yeah, most of these owners are American, I think.
It's not just American. It's Chinese, Russian. Like look at Abramovich from Chelsea, he's an oligarch.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a funny old game because like it might work in America because okay, America is a huge friggin' not just a continent but a huge friggin' country. But with how Europe is basically just a fraction of multiple countries, this is so much more difficult to pull off than anything else. And especially if you have multiple competitions, you've got your league competition. Say you've got, say you're playing in Spain on Sunday, and then on I don't know, they say in the middle of the week, so I would assume maybe Wednesday, just like the Champions League. Maybe it will work the same way as the Champions League, but like you're essentially having your whole league move out. Because say your top two teams in the league, in this case Bayern and Leipzig, and just for comparison's sake, Bayern and Leipzig, they'll travel to Spain to face Real Madrid and Barcelona. But then you still have the Champions League going on. So the top four teams behind Bayern and Leipzig, so your likes of like your Dortmunds, your Gladbachs, your Leverkusen, so on and so forth, the top four teams will play in the Champions League against some other clubs flying out to say Italy, and you've got the four teams behind them playing in the Europa League, playing in Portugal, and they've got the four teams behind them then playing in the Conference League, playing against teams in say Russia. You basically have the whole league flying out. Everyone's going to have European games at that point. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's the point. More money.
There's also going to be like so much traveling involved. Like players are going to be so exhausted.
We've already seen that this season with how the amount of like traveling and whatnot the players have to do, and how many injuries that has caused. It's only going to get worse.
But I think the ESL and the domestic leagues are mutually exclusive. I don't think one will happen. Like one cannot happen with the other happening, because I do not think UEFA will allow the teams to play in their domestic leagues while they're participating in the ESL. Like people forget how much power UEFA and FIFA have. even if they're corrupt.
Yeah.
And I doubt they're not pissed off. Like seeing this was announced, like we haven't even reached the UCL semifinals.
Yeah.
Okay, like
Announced at midnight.
yeah, okay, we're out. Like Bayern is out. I'm not watching the competition anymore. But it's just crazy. It's disrespectful in my opinion. But what can you do? Money rules everything.
Milan Gasic for now. For now. We'll just give it a few weeks and Bayern will make a statement on this saying, oh, the European Super League is the best thing in world football, so you have to join. That's just the way it is.
And I'll honestly stop watching football if we join the ESL, to be honest.
Look, I'm going to say this right now because I'm going to be the exception because I've seen plenty of people say that they're going to stop watching football. I'm still going to watch. But for me, football will have died at that point. I'm going to watch it just for the entertainment sake, but football as a whole will have died for me.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm still going to watch it too. Like, there's no way around it. Like, a lot of us have, like, based our lives around football. Like, it's one of the main parts of our lives, like it's impossible to root it out completely. But like you said,
True.
It's
well, I'm in a minority here because I generally always throw things that I've spent my whole life on just away like that without a second thought. So to me, that's not much of an issue. I can throw football away to the side and never watch again and be happy. For me, that's relatively easy. I've done that with plenty of other things in the past, and I always enjoy doing that. But like to me, for me, football will be done. I'll watch it for the entertainment aspect of it, but like in terms of actually like rooting for a team, in terms of like so this channel won't. First of all, I don't think this channel will exist at that point anymore. But like this channel, Bayern Fan TV, the Bayern will probably be out of the name. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I don't think I can actually like willingly support a team at that point anymore. Because football to me has always been about you prove to be the best in your country, and then you prove to be the best in world football, and there are stakes. If there are no stakes, there's no entertainment. If there's no entertainment, there's no football.
Yeah, I also wonder how
Exactly.
long the ESL will last. Like, do you think it'll last like 20, 30 years or something?
No. I think it's going to be a 10, 15-year long project, and after that, there's going to be a new thing.
I see.
I
Very
honestly
similar
think
to
it's
the
just like
Champions
a
League.
cash grab, 3-year, 4-year cash grab, so they clear up their debt and then they're gonna try and get back to the old format. That's just my opinion, though.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That could happen.
But this all depends on UEFA and FIFA. Are they going to actually put their foot down and take a stand and say, like, you know what, you've left, you created this whole thing, we're never going to allow you back? Or have the other teams just got too much power?
I think they should stand their ground and punish them. But let's see what happens.
I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I don't think they will. We've seen what how they've let people get away with financial fair play. That's not a thing. That's not even a thing anymore. Because UEFA they can't put their foot down.
Yeah, UEFA like they're not exactly perfect, so they can fail many times.
Can't wait to see West Ham win the Premier League now. Football's going after this season. Forget history. Football's going to be different. It's good. There's going to be new teams that are going to rise up, and the bigger teams are going to stay even bigger than they currently are.
Wait, so Champions League next season? Since all those teams are in the ESL now, like, how will they fill up all the spots then, like in the group stages and stuff?
Well, we're gonna have the new proposed Champions League next season, which was always going to happen. But then you've also got the Europa Conference League next season, and now with this happening, it just gets even more complicated. So that's why UEFA they're making a statement tomorrow, their official statement on how everything's going to pan out tomorrow. But so we don't actually know. But my guess is just that the teams, like basically pretending that those teams that are in the ESL are not in the league. So if you say your first and second and third and fourth, the top 6 teams in the Premier League, say all those all the 6 teams that have joined the ESL, say those top 6. So say those are top 6 in the Premier League, then essentially the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th team are going to be in the Champions League instead. That would be my guess. So you've got the likes
Okay.
of I don't even know who's 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th, but you've got them in the Premier in the Champions League. That's my understanding, at least as of right now, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or they just remove the teams from their domestic leagues completely.
I could see that happening, yeah. But then you also have to question how much power do the national FAs have? Because they don't have that much.
You don't think so?
No, I really don't. Like say the Bundesliga, right? Say the DFL kicks out Bayern. If you kick out Bayern, you basically not just Bayern, but say you kick out Bayern. All right, there are two rumors going around whether the second team is Dortmund or whether the second team is Leipzig. But say you kick out Bayern and Dortmund, right? Because Dortmund is a more popular club. You kicking out you're kicking out basically the record holders in Bayern, the current title holders in Bayern. You're kicking them out of the Bundesliga. I just can't see them doing that without people screaming that the competition is corrupt, and without people screaming that the integrity of the competition is still a thing. So no matter what you do, you keep Bayern in there, the integrity is wasted because Bayern makes so much more money off the ESL, and you kick Bayern out, and you're still ruining the integrity of the competition because now you've kicked out the number one team. So whoever wins hasn't really beaten the best team in Germany, and it's supposed to be the best teams in the country going against each other. So like no matter what you do, there is no integrity.
Yeah, but I still think if UEFA were to take harsh sanctions, maybe some people wouldn't agree, but I think most people would understand.
True, but I feel like our club is divided on this matter like every other matter. I'd close the door now. I don't think our club is honestly. I don't think the club is divided at all. I think the club is pretty much they want to join, but they know they can't. That's really what it boils down to. I think every club would want to join, but they know they can't.
I think we can't join because of the 50+1 rule or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch enough American football. American sport in general to to make a good comparison of how the American sports system works compared to like the ESL. But like, I just don't see the fun and entertainment in this. Personally, I just don't see the fun and entertainment in this. Like what are you even competing for? You're competing for nothing. It's like you're playing for a preseason trophy. It's like the same as the Audi Cup. What's the point? You're watching this because it's fun, but like,
yeah,
if there's no challenge, if there's no stakes. Like for example, right, the PSG game that we just lost, right, the tie. If that was just a whatever game, right, and it didn't matter, there would be absolutely no point watching that. Yes, okay, good teams playing against each other, but if I watched that every single week, every single season, and there's no stakes behind it, yeah, if I'm not playing for anything, then there's no pride, there is no competitiveness, there's no nothing. There's just game. If I want to play a game, I can do that myself. I can go to the park right now and play football by myself. I get the same enjoyment.
Even better, I could just open up my PS4, hop on FIFA, and simulate the match, and I can play it myself. Why do I need to watch it on the ESL?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's just no intensity that the Champions League has compared to what the ESL will have.
I'll tell you what, Need2GN. I think more people will be fine with it than not. That's all I'm going to say. I've been stalking some fan bases today just to see their thoughts. And fan bases of clubs that have joined the Super League, right? I'm talking about like Liverpool. I'm talking about Manchester City. I'm talking about United. I'm talking about Real Madrid. Majority of them are done with football. Officially, are done with football. I've seen plenty of people that have cancelled their memberships, so on and so forth. That have officially, been members of a club for multiple years, and I've just decided, you know what, that's it. Not a fan of football anymore. But for as many people as there are that that will leave football, that will never watch it again, or be a quote unquote small team, as you've mentioned, there are going to be new people that are going to watch football. They're going to, yo, this is fun. This is amazing. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the people that hate this idea outweigh the people that are going to come in and watch this. and enjoy it.
I
I don't.
think once COVID goes away and like fans start to come back, then maybe the ESL will like be abolished and we may go back to like the regular football. That's what I think. Because the big thing, the biggest reason I think why the ESL is happening is because there's no fans, so clubs aren't getting that much money anymore compared to pre-COVID times.
But my argument for that would be, then this is a terrible time to do this, because vaccines and so on and so forth are already being massively spread out. People are, for example, I can only speak for the UK, but like people are starting to be able to go back into things, and they're starting to be able to, shops are opening, lockdowns are closing, so things are slowly starting to turn into normalcy again. So to blame it on to say that once COVID is over, I'm not going to say definitively that like by the time the next season starts that fans will 100,000 fans will be able to go back into stadiums, so on and so forth. But like I definitely see stadiums being able to hold 10%, 15% of their stadium capacity by the end of next season. So I think this is a terrible timing. And as the article that I read earlier said, from 2018. This was planned in 2018 to come into effect in 2021. So it's not because of COVID as much as they want to as much as they want you to believe that. This is because that's something that they've been planning for 3 years now, at least.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What if they were responsible for COVID as well? Nah, but somebody was saying like if we don't join them, we're gonna become a small team. I'd rather see us become a small team than me losing complete faith in football and Bayern completely, being honest. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. History is being made right in front of us, but it's so difficult to actually see how this will pan out in the long term. Because long term, I think it's gonna happen. Look, I've said this. I think it's gonna happen long term. 10 years down the line, in 2031, I think it will be all the major clubs will have been part of it, and that will be that. But I don't see how it's gonna pan out neatly, right? At least for the short term. Long term, I think it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be boring, but I think it's gonna work out. Short term, I'm not sure at all.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing, though. In terms of like the clubs that have joined, the founding members, quote unquote, there should be a revision. There should be a major revision, because some of these clubs in there, right? And say what you want about the ESL, but some of the clubs in there have no right being in there at all.
They've never done Tottenham, Arsenal.
They've never done anything internationally, but they are in there. It makes absolutely no sense.
It does make sense because they have the most money. Like that's what it's about. It's not about your international heritage or how many titles you have. It's all about the money.
Yes and no.
I don't even think AC Milan would be there if they didn't have their new owner, because like they had a new billionaire like a few years ago. He came in. If they were as poor as they were before, I doubt they would have joined. I don't know. It's just really weird.
It's a strange situation. That's what it is. It's a strange situation. And I think we'll find out more tomorrow with what UEFA and FIFA are planning. Nai2GN says there's no way that UEFA will ban players from participating in World Cup just to ruin their own cup. I think if they really want to put their foot down, they would. They should. That's my take. They should ban players from participating, because that's when the ESL will flop. Because say what you want, South American players, they will choose their country over their club any time of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you stop them from participating in World Cup or international trophies, that's when they're going to be like, you know what, nah, ESL sounds good, money sounds good, but maybe at the end of their career they'll be like, you know what, I'll join an ESL team. But in that peak of their career, when they can win anything for the country, they're not going to join. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know if it's a good comparison, but it's slightly similar. Like, remember the Chinese Super League when they were buying all those players and trying to make it really attractive? This is kind of the same thing. Not really, but
Yeah, it's
they're both
similar.
money driven, and they both like hopefully are gonna flop because the Chinese Super League flopped. But I don't know, to be honest.
I think if UEFA like really stand hard, like all these players, they won't participate in the World Cup or like won't be in the Champions League anymore, then I think the ESL could also flop in the next 2-3 years.
Here's the thing: the Chinese Super League. I'm not that well versed on it, but from what I gather, it flopped because of the government, because of the Chinese government. Now, there have been plenty of governments speaking out against the ESL already, just today already, without before it even became public, before it even was announced. They've spoken up against it today, saying that no, they support the national leagues, they support the current competitions, they don't want this ESL. And football is a massive thing. Say what you want, but football is the biggest sport in world football. So national leagues, national governments, and parliaments will be very, very intrigued to see how this goes down, and they will take a stand. So the Chinese Super League flopped because of the government, from what I recall, from the Chinese government, because they just couldn't afford it anymore. It was just going too crazy. The ESL doesn't have a government that can stop it because it is, at the end of the day, an international competition. But you could have a situation where the EU comes together and stops it. And when I say the EU, I don't mean the EU, the governing body. I mean the EU in terms of the countries itself, the government of the countries that are participating. So it's a weird one. It's a strange one, honestly, because realistically, like there is nothing that could stop it. It's a competition. There's like the government shouldn't be able to do anything about it. It's not like
it's technically not illegal. So
exactly. But because football is such a huge global phenomenon, I can see the countries taking a stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these teams are like based in they're based in countries, so I think like the government has a certain amount of power over them. I'm not too sure, but it would make sense.
The only thing I could think of would be like a competition law, a dispute in competition law. But like even then, that's not really the case. Like I'm trying to think of like what laws these clubs would be breaking, but like competition law, they're not breaking competition law because at the end of the day, if they're all in the same financial position, then there's no break in that. There's no breach in that. And so legally, granted, I haven't done a legal check in this, but like legally, I can't think of anything that this would be going against. So I don't think there is much for them to do. I think this will go through. I don't think there's much for FIFA and UEFA to do except ban players from World Cups and international competitions. But besides that, it's gonna go through. There's a reason they put out that message so confidently with all the clubs involved, either because they want something from UEFA and FIFA, they're holding them hostage, or this going through. They've already done their research. They've already done, they've already had their legal advocates and the legal advisors looking into this, and this has to go through. Or they're making a demand from UEFA and FIFA that we don't know about.
Yeah, that's what I thought about as well. Like they may just be using it for leverage, but I guess UEFA is gonna call their bluff tomorrow when they make their announcement. I guess we'll see.
Rafael Lima, welcome. Welcome, I guess. Welcome is too big in Brazil. Top players will get pressure from all of Brazil to leave those clubs if the bans are in place. Yeah. Brazil is actually the first country that I thought of when I thought of like South American, because the World Cup, the 2014 World Cup had such a lasting impression of like how big this is, and they're gonna choose the World Cup. They're going to choose playing for the country anytime over playing for the club, even if they make 50, 60 odd million a year, because that's how much the clubs can afford now. They're not going to choose that over representing their entire country. That's just not going to happen. I'm so happy Bayern aren't playing. Jake Sykes, my friend, I'll tell you this. I wouldn't be so happy just now, right? Give it a few weeks, and maybe then if Bayern come out with a clear statement tomorrow, which I don't think they will, if they come out with a statement, this is what I would love to see from Bayern tomorrow. Bayern to come out and say, we're never joining the ESL, F the ESL, screw them, and all people that have joined it, we're gonna stay and we're gonna go our own way. If Bayern come up with a statement, a strong statement like that tomorrow, I'll be like, okay, you know what? That's what I like to see. But they're going to come out with a statement. Let's face it, they're going to come out with a statement tomorrow. It's going to be like, yeah, we've heard the cries from the fans, and we'll internally discuss the ESL. They're either going to come out with a statement like that is like a nothing statement, or they're not going to come out with anything at all. They're going to keep quiet.
Yeah. If we don't join the ESL, I think we're going to win the Champions League like for the next 5 years or something.
It's basically going to be us and PSG. Every year in the final, us or PSG.
Nah.
And I guess Dortmund as well.
Dortmund can't even beat us in the league. How do you expect us? How do you expect them to beat us in the Champions League?
Yeah.
Like, it's impossible. But with PSG, like, I see them staying like out of the ESL only until 2023 after the World Cup, because then they have no incentive to stay in. So I think they're just gonna join after, because let's not act like PSG is a saint. They're also like money hungry and run by a billionaire.
I mean, the whole reason why PSG isn't joining is because of BOIIII Sport. BOIIII Sport have invested so much in a Champions League and the Champions League rights that there's no way that PSG is just going to be like, you know what, we're going to give up we're going to give up the Champions League. That's never going to happen, because they spent so many billions on that. For them now to just suddenly join the ESL would go against that. You also have the owner of PSG being best buddies with I think the head of the UEFA. So that it isn't going to happen. But ultimately, once that BOIIII Sport Champions League TV deal is over, you'll see PSG change their tune so quickly. They'll be in the ESL ASAP. I can tell you that now. Same as Bayern. The second they can find a way around the 50+1 rule, they're going to join ASAP. Because if you're missing out on the ESL, you're missing out badly. If the reported numbers are true, you're missing out badly, and you're falling behind. And once you fall behind in football, it is extremely, extremely difficult to catch up, as we've seen with many clubs, in world football. That once you even fall behind just a little bit, it's almost impossible to really catch up, unless you're working multiple decades to do so.
Yeah, but the question is, like, is it sustainable? Okay, we might fall behind if we don't join the ESL, but what if the ESL just disbands after a few years, and then the teams inside it have to start from the 5th division? I think it's more sustainable to not join it than to risk it being disbanded and us starting from the 5th division and spending 5 years trying to get into the Bundesliga and not playing the UCL either. So I think there's risks to both sides, like financial.
I don't know. I don't know. There is here's something interesting that just came out. Here's something interesting that just came out. So FIFA wants to create a Super League in Africa, but will support UEFA against the Super League in Europe. Well, I mean, FIFA and UEFA, they want the power. That's what it boils down to. Obviously, they want the power. But the thing is, we've had a competition now for 100 years. Maybe not quite, but like give or take 100 years, right? Maybe it's more like 60, 70, 80 years, but like 100 years, give or take, right? We've had a competition that has, yes, it's changed. We're not playing the same European format that we played, in the 60s and 70s. The Champions League is definitely different from that. But we've had a competition that's worked. We've got a overall governing body in FIFA that, yes, it's corrupt. Everyone knows it's corrupt, but at least it is competitive. At least it has competitive integrity, right? That's what it boils down to. It has competitive integrity. Yes, it's corrupt in the sense that, okay, certain countries are given privileges and World Cups and certain international competitions, so on and so forth, because they paid certain amount of money. But at least the games itself, the competition itself, has integrity. With this, it won't have integrity. It won't have prestige. You'll just play. You'll be playing. You're playing a friendly. You're playing you're basically watching the same thing that you're doing in training every single game, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I honestly don't think that. I honestly don't think that it will be sustainable, the ESL.
But what
But
exactly?
let's see what happens.
Who are the founder clubs?
Real Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan.
Oh, they're all the founder clubs?
Yeah, the 12.
Yeah, so like the top 6 English clubs.
But wouldn't
top
we
3.
be a founders club as well if we joined?
Yes. If you read the statement that the ESL has put out, they said that there are 3 more founders clubs that are expected to join. And everyone's obviously speculating on the 3 teams. Bayern obviously is one of those. PSG is another one of those. And then Bayern is obviously one of those. And then the other 2 that have been mentioned are Leipzig and Porto.
I think Porto will join, to be honest.
I think so too. But those will be the founders club, and those teams can't ever get relegated. They can't ever be kicked out of the ESL, basically. That's the whole plan. So even if they came last, they'd still be in the next season. Whereas other 5 teams, like each season, there would be 5 new teams joining, and those 5 teams could get relegated. They could be kicked out for other 5 teams in the following season. But the 15 founding clubs, the 15 clubs that started this, are never in fear of ever being kicked out. So we could have the worst season ever, win no single game, but then the worst team from the 5 that joined will be kicked out instead of us.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There's no integrity.
I don't think it's going to be the case for us, but let's just call this like the Arsenal clause, because they're mostly going to be in last place. Let's be honest. Them or Spurs, or I don't know, maybe even Barcelona with how they're playing now. But I think like UEFA and FIFA, they have to ride on the hype. Especially on Instagram, like a lot of people, almost everyone is pissed off. And if UEFA like applies the sanctions, for example, tomorrow, and they come out, I think almost everybody will agree with them. So they have to do it as soon as possible if they're going to do anything. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, it all depends on what UEFA is saying tomorrow, for me. If they actually have a hard stance on this, if they say, you know what, all the teams in the Champions League and the Europa League, they're going to be kicked out this season, and in the future, if you're playing in the ESL, you're never going to be able to participate in any international competition. If they say something like that, I think the ESL will very quickly find that no player wants to join. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Somebody said that why do you think the Premier League is that successful? Because there are many good matchups and not one of them is boring. Well, yeah, that is correct, but not every team in the Premier League is a top 6 team. That's the idea. Not every team is a super club. Like, you have your underdogs like Leicester winning the league. That's never going to happen in the Super League.
Yeah.
My thing is this. I would disagree with that. I think the reason why the Premier League... Look, I'm not going to get into the whole... There's been studies made about that, but I don't want to get into those. The reason why it's so successful is not because of a good matchup. It's because the teams are relatively wealthy. That's what it boils down to. The reason it's successful is because it's wealthy, and it's wealthy because it's successful. The Premier League was the first big league that established itself when football became bigger and bigger. You look at the 80s. Italy was the biggest. The Italian league was the biggest league in world football, but they missed the boat. They missed the boat with commercialization. They missed the boat with international. And the Premier League has a lot of advantages because it's an English-speaking league. Naturally, an English-speaking league will find a lot of followers in English-speaking countries. The big one, of course, being the US of A, America. So naturally, people that watch football that are from America, they'll automatically gravitate towards the Premier League. Same reason why a lot of people that are in South American leagues, that are from South America, will naturally gravitate towards the Portuguese league or the Spanish league, because they can assimilate with that very well, because they speak the same language, they understand it very, very well. And then you factor in as well that the Premier League was so successful in the 2000s to 2010s, and that's when a lot of the new technologies were implemented for football, and that's when the big push for commercialization was made. Now, I'm not going to get into more of that because nobody wants to hear about all that, but I don't think it has anything to do with good matchups, if I'm being completely honest, because most of them are boring. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, a lot of the big games in the Premier League this season have been boring anyway.
0-0 affairs. That's basically what it's been.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. But like I said at the beginning, like I feel like if you constantly have big matches every single week, it just ruins the fun. Like that's what's so exciting about the Champions League is you don't see these matchups often. Like you don't see Bayern Real Madrid every single week. That's what makes it so exciting. That's just my opinion, though.
You want basically the privates of big games so that they hold value. If big games are being played, what is a big game? Big games are usually games that are important. They're usually very important. That's what makes them a big game. A big game, look, when I'll give you a good example, just because it's one that immediately springs to mind. When Dortmund was like 17th in the league, right? Like 7 seasons ago, right? When they were like flirting with relegation for that one season where they were like extremely bad for some reason, and then Klopp resigned at the end, right? For that season, that's the season I'm talking about. When they were 17th in the league, that wasn't a big game. I watched it, I was like, who cares? I'll be honest. I watched it, I was like, who cares, right? If Bayern, for example, plays against 1860 Munich, right? That's a big game. But that's a big game not because the two teams are big, but rather because that has history, that has importance to it. It's a derby, right? But usually European big games, when we're playing against PSG, the reason why that was a big game wasn't because it's Bayern and PSG, two best teams in the. No, it wasn't because of that. It was because whoever wins this tie goes to the next round of the Champions League. There is something to play for. If there's nothing to play for, if as you say, if there is no value, there's no point watching it. You might as well just boot up, as you said earlier, you might as well boot up the PS4 and play some FIFA. You can do the same thing there. If you want to play with superstars, just play with superstars on there. Yeah. No excitement.
Somebody said that you guys are ridiculous. You want to basically deprive us of big games so that they hold value. I don't really know what to respond to that.
Well, I mean, this comment that we just read. Funny. Funny.
I wish she was.
I
wish at least Goretzka was fit.
I mean, look, I might call it a day unless someone else has anything to say, but like, we'll find out more tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure UEFA or FIFA, they will not do anything. As much as I would love them to do something, they're not going to do anything. Let's be honest. They're going to come out with some statement. It's going to be extremely vague. People are going to try and read into it, and then we're going to find out more from like reporters and so on and so forth, journalists, so on and so forth. But like the ESL will happen. It will happen. It's going to happen. I don't see any way it's not going to happen. And if it does, it's been a fun ride. I'm gonna start. This might become a darts fan TV channel. That's what I'm gonna say. This might become a darts fan TV channel. Well, okay. BD Core Football has just joined. So let's hear your thoughts on this whole ESL topic, because we've spoken about it in depth already, but we haven't heard your thoughts on it yet. What are your thoughts on the ESL, the European Super League?
The name is Core. Just to remind you. Score.
BD Core. I mean, you're switching it up. Whichever team you support at the moment. I know. From BD Core, Borussia Dortmund Core to now suddenly he's got a Bayern. It's suddenly he's got the Allianz Arena in his profile picture.
Yeah. Core, just core. Anyways, what's up, Byron Fancy? What's going on, man? This is a good idea, yo. This is a good idea. I think it's been it's driving from. I know where like the owners are coming from, the people who joined the European Super League, but I think that basically, um, COVID has really messed up a lot of clubs. If you look at it, so like for example, I think it was like last summer where a team like Dortmund couldn't really sell a player like Sancho. You know what I'm trying to say? Because of what was going on in the COVID situation. But now you're looking at it like if they create this Super League, they can Dortmund should be joining. I don't know they should not be saying no, to be honest. Because it's not like they have any funds during COVID. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think I think this is gonna go through. I don't think Real Madrid care about being banned or anything from Champions League. I don't think these 12 clubs care. I think they've gotten to the point where uh they've gotten to the point where once I say one thing, everybody says new core. They've gotten to the point where like they've kept on and to be honest, Fidel, I'll tell you this. I am so objective. I am a very, very objective football fan. And I say things to be real. You can go check my channel. I called Man City versus PSG semis, and I also called Real Madrid versus Chelsea semis. So go there and check it and see if you want to mute me or not. But yeah, it's Bayern Fan TV. Don't be surprised if Bayern joins. Don't be surprised if Leipzig joins because this will go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
It
but
I
makes
mean,
sense.
if you're being objective, how can this be anything else but greed? How can this be fueled by anything else but greed? You said it affected the big clubs, but
Hmm.
COVID didn't affect anyone as much as it affected the small clubs. Like the big clubs, okay, they took a hit, but
Hmm.
it wasn't as hard as it hit the
No,
small
no, no.
clubs.
That's why I'm saying like a club like Dortmund shouldn't be saying no.
But
You
Dortmund is
understand what I'm
not a
trying to
small
say?
club. That's the thing. They're not
Dortmund,
that small
Dortmund,
compared to the other
bro,
Bundesliga
bro.
teams.
Because of COVID, they signed Jude Bellingham. Because of COVID, they signed Munir. I don't think they really wanted these players. You understand what I'm trying to say? I think they wanted to buy better players than these kind of three players that you're mentioning just right now. You
Yeah,
know,
but
so
if you're gonna look
can I
at it
just
from
say
an
very quickly? Carl Mamery, have a good night. That's all I want to
have a
say.
good night. If you're gonna look at it objectively, you have to look at the other team, not just Dortmund. Dortmund is a pretty big team compared to the other small teams in the Bundesliga. I'm
mhm,
sorry, but they're like the second biggest team in Germany. But if you look at the ESL, what happens to the other small teams that can't join the ESL? Like, okay, Dortmund joins, and then what about like
that's what
Leverkusen
I'm
is a small
saying.
club? What
Then
about Leverkusen? What about Mainz or Frankfurt? Or what about
mhm.
these small teams? What about the small teams in La Liga? What about the small teams in the Premier League?
Yeah,
Like,
the thing is, right now we as fans want to watch ball. We want to watch ball. We don't want to watch any more of these Getafes and all that. We don't want to watch any of that. The Sheffield
Disrespect to
United.
Getafe.
Yeah, no, because
Disrespect to
I'm
Sheffield.
serious. No, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, but it's being honest,
No
yo.
wonder you switched up from
Like,
Dortmund to Bayern. you
no, we don't. We don't wanna. We just don't want to. We
yeah, but
just don't wanna watch these
once
things.
again, if you're gonna be objective, like you said you were, you don't want to watch Getafe. But what about the Getafe
exactly.
fans? What about the Getafe fans that
Because
want to watch
you
Getafe Real Madrid?
look,
Why
look,
don't they
right?
deserve to watch Getafe Real Madrid? Why
No,
don't they
no.
deserve to watch those big matches? Why don't the small club fans deserve to
Mhm.
watch their small clubs play big clubs just because the big clubs want to be greedy and they want to get all the money for themselves? If you're gonna be
Nabil
objective,
D,
be
message me
objective
on
for real.
Twitter or Instagram.
Like if you're gonna be objective, you have to realize it's all about greed, and you can't sit here and tell me that you don't want to watch or that we don't want to watch the small teams because I don't know if you realize, but the small teams, they have a lot of fans as well. Like
Mm.
most fans, there. I don't know if you know, but a lot of football fans, they're not plastics. They don't support teams just because they're winning titles. Like you have here. For example, I'm from an Eastern European country. Most of my friends are Real Madrid and Barcelona fans. There are a lot of fans that just support their home clubs. Like if you're from like Madrid, you're gonna support Real Madrid, obviously. Or if you're
Well, okay. I think I think his internet dropped out just then. Not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, so let me answer his question. Okay. Um.
oh,
Welcome
sorry, I
back.
think I exited by accident. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, like I was saying, like if you're gonna look at it objectively, you got to realize small teams have big fan bases as well. Like those people
Mhm.
deserve to see the big games, and I don't think there's any argument to say that they don't, unless it's about money and greed. Which in that case, like I'm not gonna bother arguing about that. You know what I mean?
Okay. So let me tell you something. Okay. Um. Do you said you like watching Getafe and Sheffield United and these teams, right? That's
I
what you
didn't say
said.
that I like watching. I said those teams have
And
fans as well, and you can't deny them the
that's what I'm
opportunity to
saying.
watch them play big games.
Those fans will somehow have to transfer to supporting big clubs now, because the reality is nobody right now will watch a Sheffield United, or nobody will
What do
watch
you mean, bro? Sheffield
a
United
Armenia.
fans watch Sheffield United, and what do you mean they're
No,
gonna have to
nobody will
transfer
watch
to
an
supporting big
Armenia
clubs?
Bielefeld, an Armenia
I'm I'm a,
Bielefeld
I'm
or
a,
something like
I'm a diehard Arminia Bielefeld fan, bro. What you mean? Stop
Exactly,
disrespecting me.
exactly,
that. No,
dude.
no, but
All
the
jokes
thing
aside,
is,
man, like how can you call yourself a real fan and you go transfer to a big club? See, that's the problem.
no, it's
This is the problem.
reality.
Fans like
No,
this that support clubs just because they win titles. They watch like two Champions League matches a season, and then they act like they know everything about football. Dude,
no,
that's not how it
it's
works.
reality. It's reality.
It's
It's
not
reality.
reality. The reality is small clubs have there are small clubs with big fan bases, and you can't deny them the right to watch proper football and then watch their teams have a chance at playing big games and earning a lot of money just because the big clubs want to make even more money than they're making right now. Like
Okay.
what you still have failed to give me an argument to that. Why wouldn't
Okay.
why
o-
and how many like if you're supporting a small club right now, like if you're a Sheffield United fan, why haven't you transitioned to supporting a big club like right now? Like why haven't you transitioned until now if you only
The
care about
reason
watching the big ones?
why, let me tell you something. The reason why the fans of Sheffield United haven't transitioned to supporting a big club is just because the big clubs are sharing the revenue with Sheffield United. You understand what I'm trying to say? In Premier League. So because of this, the fans don't feel the need to support a team like Arsenal or a Tottenham or a Chelsea or so forth.
Dude, you
You
don't
see?
support a team because they're making money from other. What are you saying, bro? You support a team because you're from that hometown. You like watching football. It's a
Hmm.
sense of like nationalism. I I
Hmm.
I don't have any other word to describe it.
I mean, it's up to them. If they want to still watch Premier League, that's up to them. It's still gonna go on, regardless of what happens. It's still gonna go on. But also, the European Super League is still gonna go on too.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
like this
and
whole discussion was about you providing a good argument as to why the Super League should happen, and you've
yeah,
kind of failed.
and
What is the
I'm
reason?
telling you,
Greed,
and I'm
even more
telling you,
money.
no, no, it's not to earn more money. It's gonna be much more competitive. We're gonna see every single midweek more and
What
more
is
and
the
more teams.
competitive to do what? There's no relegation. There's no stakes. There's no risk. You can't get
Yeah,
relegated.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be like the NBA. You're gonna be. It's like,
Well, I
for
don't want to watch
example.
the NBA. I want to watch the Champions League. That's the only reason I'm watching football. Like, I don't even care about the Bundesliga anymore because we win it every single season. I just want
You
to.
see how you said you don't care about the Bundesliga anymore because you win it every single season? Let me tell you something, all right?
Well, yeah, but
That
that
is one.
once again is an issue. Is an issue that comes about because clubs are getting too big, and the ESL is happening because clubs are getting too big. So both go hand in hand. It's people are like the big clubs are monopolizing football. This is what the ESL is. It's there's absolutely no good argument for the ESL, only except
Wow.
if you want to watch big matches all the time. But too much, like even too much of a good thing is not good, in my opinion. And people will see
No, no,
like
I heard that saying. I've heard that saying before.
I'd like to know what Bayern Fan TV has to say about this though.
The
Yeah,
ESL
Bayern
sucks.
Fantasy.
That's my fault. The ESL sucks. Football is it getting more boring? Yeah, absolutely. The amount of times in the last 3 years that I've missed a Bundesliga game is too damn high. I'll say this right now. Usually, when I was younger, I would have slept an hour. Right? If it meant sleeping just 1 hour, I would have woken up before watching any single game because it was so important. Nowadays, however, I'm like, yeah, I'll just watch it when I wake up. There is no real urgency for me to wake up and watch these games. If I'm awake, of course I'll watch them. But if I'm not awake, because of my horrible sleeping schedule, I won't force myself unless it's a big game. I won't force myself to wake up. I can agree with that, but the ESL there is no stakes. There is no stakes, right? So there is no point for me to wake up. I can watch the highlights. There is no need for me to be up and be like, okay, I need to watch this game. This is important. This is, I've been waiting for this. I've been looking forward to this. Like, for example, you have the World Cup final. Always my favorite memory. The World Cup final, right? The whole time, like a whole week before that game happened, ever since we've beaten Brazil in that semi-final, ever since that day, I couldn't sleep. I was so nervous about that World Cup final. I was like, okay, this is the bit we can't fail. That was my whole thought. I won't have that with the ESL. When the ESL is here, I'm like, honestly, what is there to play for? There is nothing to play
It's
for.
gonna become a trivial thing you watch with your friends like every now and then, just for fun.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly. Like while you're maybe having some barbecue or whatnot, you're just something to have on TV instead of watching like the latest season. I was going to say the latest season of Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones ended years ago. But like instead of watching like the latest seasons of like the newest hip TV show, all you're doing is just putting football on because it's entertaining.
Guys,
But
3.5 billion. 3.5 billion compared to what you're getting paid from Bundesliga and Champions League.
but here's the
Yeah,
thing.
but
Here's the
once
thing.
again,
I'm not
that's
getting
just
paid
a
anything
short term.
anyway. They're not paying me. So
That's what I know. No, I know where you're going. Oh no, I understand that one by fancy. That one I understand. Now, I'm just saying, if you're getting paid 3.5 billion, compared to like basically like how much you're getting from your current league that you're playing in, which is the Bundesliga, you're getting more than the amount of revenue that you're getting in the Bundesliga in that ESL league. You know, so.
we also have to factor this in.
Mhm.
If you're getting paid that much more, but you can't play in the World Cup, is that worth it? If you can't play for your nation, is that worth it?
Actually, to be honest, I think it is because you know why?
Then why don't you play in China? If you're a footballer, why don't you just move to China or whatnot? Make your money there. Same thing. Same
Oh
principle.
no, it's the same thing. No. I know it's the same thing. No. But the thing here is right. Like, I think my brother brought up a really good point where like it probably doesn't really affect the players. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Of
It
course, it
probably
affects
like
the players.
yeah, it probably just probably affects the club and the team in general. But the players maybe could still participate in the World Cup and the Euros and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think if you're getting 3.5, bro, I'm going for 3.5 billion over playing in the Bundesliga or the
Yeah,
Champions
but
League. I don't know about
who's
you,
to
but
say that the salaries are even going to increase? Who's to say that Bayern is going to change their wage structure just because they joined the ESL? I mean, probably they will, but I don't know. Like, yeah, in my opinion, I don't want to get too crazy, but if you're advocating for the ESL, you're not a real football fan. You don't give a shit about the sport
Here's
because
the way I look at it is a little bit different. For me, it's very similar to it's this. Um, if you're a fan of the ESL, you're either a fan of a big club. You don't like football as a whole. You just like your club. That's really what it boils down. Like if you like football as a whole,
yeah,
I can't see how you like the ESL because at the end of the day, there's going to be 20 points. Sorry, 20 teams in world football that are going to be relevant, and everyone else, if you're supporting any other team, basically football is done. It's over. At this point, football for
you
you,
you just want to
never
watch ball.
aspire to get, never aspire to be big, never hope to get anywhere. Don't dream of the Champions League. Don't dream of any international competition. Don't dream of anything because it's over. If you're not part of these original members, if you're not part of this ESL, it's done, done and dusted.
yeah.
You just
But
want to watch ball. You just want
another
to watch ball.
another big problem is like also for the small teams financially, like what's going to be the incentive to watch the Bundesliga if I have the ESL every single week?
That's what I'm telling you.
Why would I watch the Bundesliga? Why would I watch the Premier League? All these competitions are going to continue with the small teams in it, and possibly even the teams that remain in the ESL, because as far as I heard, the ESL is going to be played during the week, and the Bundesliga and all the domestic leagues will be played during the weekend. So both competitions will still be going, and if UEFA allows it, like the big teams will still be present in the domestic competitions. So what is the incentive to participate in these domestic leagues? What is the incentive for me to watch the domestic leagues when I have Real Madrid Bayern playing every single week? Like it makes absolutely no sense.
But then, what's the incentive of watching those games if there's no stakes for it? So basically, football. What's the incentive of watching
Exactly.
football at that
Exactly.
point?
Football is dead, and like the argument, we just want to watch ball. If you want to
Yeah.
watch ball, dude, there's
You.
games every weekend. I don't know if you know,
Oh
but
my
there's teams playing every
But
single weekend.
God.
There's the Champions League every now and then. You know, the
Hmm.
system's been working until now. Teams have
Hmm.
been making billions.
Hmm.
I mean, if
I have
you
a
can't
question.
watch
I
all
have
the
a
big
question
matches
for
all
you,
the
Bayern
time.
fan. I have a question for you, Bayern fan. Let me ask you this question. If you've lived in Africa, right? If you've been in Africa and so forth, if you've been in Ghana, where I come from, if you've been in Nigeria and all that other stuff like that, I have a kind of a group of African people who like I talk to and everything about football, and we just want to watch ball, bro. Like we don't care about all this other, all these other things, the teams and all that. So if we
Uh,
want to watch ball,
I'd argue that most of you don't care because you don't understand the repercussions of what's about to happen. I'm
we
sorry.
don't care about the
You wanna
repercussion.
watch.
We care
You
about
don't
football.
care because you don't think you don't think about the repercussions. You don't wait a moment and think that football's gonna die because of this. You don't give it a moment like I'm sorry, and you keep on saying you want to watch ball. Dude,
Mhm.
there's matches every single weekend. There's multiple competitions you can watch. It's competitive. There's the Champions League. You got huge teams playing now. Like, what's wrong with what's happening now? Why is the ESL necessary? And
You
the
know
only
what's
logical
wrong? You
answer
know
to
what's
the
wrong with
ESL is
what's
money.
happening now? You
It's
know
not
what's wrong?
entertainment.
You know what's happening now? What's happening now is COVID has hijacked everybody. That's what's happening now.
This has nothing to do with COVID. If COVID wasn't here, they would have still done it. It has absolutely nothing to do with COVID. It has everything to do with money. And
Why?
do you honestly think these big clubs give a shit with a like sorry for my language about you as a fan? They don't care about you. Like these owners, there's a huge disconnect between the fans and the owners. Like you can't tell me you want to watch football when there's competitions going on every single weekend and you have the Champions League as well. Like, what's wrong with what has happened, with what has been going on until now? And who's to say that if the ESL happens, there's going to be even less matches happening because maybe UEFA is gonna ban the rest of the clubs from participating in their domestic leagues. Like, it's it's not a good thing, in my opinion.
Core football. I'm gonna say something right here. That I hope doesn't come across as vicious, as malicious. All right, but I think the reason why you think it's a good thing, and the reason why me and Bayern fan think it's a bad thing, I think that has to do with the fact that you're not really a fan of a club.
Yeah,
Like as I
I'm
said,
just
you, obviously,
objective.
as I said, you used to be a Dortmund fan until like 5 months ago or so, and then so now you've got a now you've got the Allianz Arena in your profile picture. Like like if you're a fan of a club, I think this is bad news for you because ultimately it means your club. It means that club football is dying. That's what. Let's be honest. That's what it means. But if you're just a fan of football in general, just of the sport in general, I think you can look at it and be like, you know what, fair enough. It's not it's not the worst thing ever because at least I'm getting to see these top teams play against each other here and there. But like if you're a fan of a club and you're like, okay, I need to see my team do its best with stakes, with in these positions, in these difficult situations, then there is no point having the ESL. Because the best games, at least for me, right? I've said this plenty of times before, but my favorite game of all time is not a final. My favorite game of all time was the second game against Porto, because Bayern was 3-1 down in the first leg, and then it felt like, okay, there is no way to win this now. We're not going to make it to the next round of the Champions League. We're out. And then we won 6-1 in the second leg. And the reason why that is my favorite game is not because Porto is this giant in world football, but it's because of the stakes. I thought we were out. I thought, okay, there's nothing that can be done here. I thought, okay, you know what? Fair enough. It's over. But this team turned it around. And having that hope, having that despair, ultimately having that emotion tied to your club, to football in general, is what makes football so entertaining. And that's why I can't get behind it. I 100%, the ESL is happening, and 100% Bayern is joining. Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
I'm telling you this.
I don't think
nobody's
nobody's
disputing that. I think it's a certainty.
It's happening.
I think
it's happening.
Next year, in exactly 12 months' time, 365 days from now, Bayern will be part of the ESL. And yeah, I think that's just a fact. I think that's a given.
I heard Leipzig too. Leipzig and Porto. Yeah, they're also gonna join.
How would they go about circumventing the 50+1 rule? And that would suggest changing their whole structure, like the wage structure and everything. I don't know. I just don't see Bayern joining. I see the ESL happening, but I don't see Bayern joining. And about your favorite match, I would argue that the second leg versus Juve in 2016 was a better game.
Oh yeah,
I've seen people. Yeah, people are mentioning that here. I can very much. I can vouch for that. That's another one of those. Actually, my favorite video that I've got on YouTube, my favorite video from my favorite video on this channel is actually my reaction to that last minute goal. That is my favorite video that I've ever uploaded on YouTube.
From Alcantara, right? Ah, dang.
No, it was Thomas Müller.
Yeah,
because I at first I screamed Lewandowski, and then I realized, wait, it's actually Müller that scored.
Well, yeah, it was Lewandowski the first goal, then Müller, then Thiago, then Coman.
Yes.
Yeah. The funny thing is, your most viewed video was the Lewandowski one, right, with the 5 goals.
Yeah, but that's because of the clickbait.
Yeah.
Back then, I used to be a lot more clickbaity. Nowadays, my thumbnails, I don't work on them at all. But back then, with the thumbnail, I just had the match, like a picture from the match on, so people would think, oh, it's an actual football match. Let me click on that.
Yeah, the big thing this season for me has been Hernandez not starting. That's been killing me. But I mean, especially with Alaba, I cannot stand him. He's been absolutely terrible. He hasn't been terrible, but Hernandez is miles above him, especially at center back. So I really don't understand why he's been playing.
Not about Shao Jonathan Petrain, but I mean, that game was just
what I would say is we look like we could improve in the fullback area this summer. I know we're getting Omar Richards and so forth, but I really think we need to get a good backup for Alfonso Davies.
Dude,
Yeah.
but were you really a Dortmund fan a few years ago?
For a few
No, I
months.
wasn't.
A few months ago?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
dude. Like, no
I'll be
offense,
realistic.
dude,
It'd be
dude.
reality. Reality,
No,
man.
no offense, but the ones agreeing to the ESL are fans like you, like people that only support a club because of the trophies they won. Like they watch one final, they see Real Madrid. Ooh, Ronaldo scored the hat trick. Oh, I'm gonna support Real Madrid now.
Yeah.
And
Nah, it's
once
reality. It's reality, man.
and
Reality.
once Cristiano leaves Real Madrid, they go and support Juventus. But then they see
Oh
that
no, no.
Juventus isn't winning anything because they suck, and then they go and support Bayern because Bayern just won the Champions League. Those are the
I
kind of fans
actually,
that are
I
supporting the
actually,
ESL.
I will say,
actually,
I will say one thing. He didn't support, quote unquote, support Bayern because of that. He was supporting Dortmund, but he hated the management, and that's why he switched up. And he didn't want to move away from the Bundesliga because he enjoyed it, and that's why now he's with Bayern because he couldn't
I
stand
see.
the Dortmund management.
Well,
So
regardless if you're
it's not really the results or our performance. It's more so that he just couldn't stand the management,
I
which is kind
see.
of funny
Well,
considering that everyone's complaining about the Bayern management at the moment.
dude, regardless of your reason, like the way you voice your opinion and stuff, it does make you seem a bit like a glory hunter, you know. But
okay. No, 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 no.
even the fact that you
Okay.
support the ESL, like it says a lot, man. Like you don't.
Uh,
I don't think you understand the consequences, bro. Honestly, that's just my opinion.
okay. What are the consequences? Can you tell me?
I
Can
just
you tell
told
me?
you, it's like small clubs are gonna die out. The domestic leagues are gonna die out as well. What
Yeah.
about the UCL? The UCL is gonna die out. All these competitions with heritage and history. And I'm sorry, like it actually means something, and it means something to the players as well. Like if I was a football player,
Mhm.
like winning the UCL would be my dream. Winning the
So,
ESL,
guys.
you think I
Mhm.
dream about winning? You think I'm going to dream about winning the ESL at night? I go to sleep and I think, oh my God, the ESL. I'm going to win the ESL.
No,
Amazing.
no, 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 no. I have a question, yo. I have a question. So my question is, right? Can you transfer from smaller club to a big club? And can you transfer from a bigger club to a bigger club if the ESL happens, or you can't? That's a really,
Obviously,
really
you can
good question.
transfer, but not every player in the world is going to go to the ESL, bro. Squads only have a limited number, and they're only going to buy the
Yeah.
best players in the world. Like, that doesn't mean anything, though. The small clubs are still going to suffer. And like I said, like, what is the incentive as a player except money, as it usually is? Like, weren't we here like a few years ago taking the piss out of Neymar because he joined PSG for the money? Like the Bayern fans were throwing money at him. Like it would be
Yeah.
extremely hypocritical to join the ESL now, especially as a Bayern fan.
Crickspan, how are you doing?
I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. Yeah, I'm just asking, why are you that certain that the ESL will happen? Like
Oh,
you say
100%.
it's 100. Yeah,
100%.
why? Why?
Bro,
Because
like
this was always the
it was
plan.
always on the pipeline. It's always gonna happen. Like it's been like this for like the past couple of years. They've been thinking about this topic, so 100% is gonna go through.
I just wanted to ask. So we all know the big clubs, right? But how does a small team become a big club? Not even possible now. Like in this state of the game we are right now, is it possible for small club to become a big club without like
Yes.
it's big investment, like Leipzig?
Yes,
Like
No.
yes.
how? Tell me one example. Tell me one example.
Hoffenheim. For about 2 years, Hoffenheim went from relegation candidate. They got one good manager in Nagelsmann, and suddenly they were in the Champions League competitions for about 3 years in a row. They were building themselves up, and now they're not relegation candidates anymore. They've gotten to be a bigger club. They're not a top 5 club in the world, but they've gotten to be a big club. And if they had kept that model up, then they would have gotten even bigger. It just you need Klopp. Look at Klopp, Mainz. You see what he did with Mainz, and you see what he did with Dortmund. Basically, took Dortmund from like a mid-team to a team that regularly is in the Champions League, and basically is in the Champions League every single season. It just takes time. It's not impossible. It's very much possible. That's just two examples. You can go the Atletico Madrid route as well. Atletico Madrid, you look at their development under Simeone, they're now one of the biggest clubs in world football. You look at recently AC Milan and Inter Milan, they're coming back. They're not there yet, but they're coming back.
Yeah,
So
they're
there are
coming
plenty of
back.
examples.
Come back. No. I think it should. For me, this is what I'm thinking is can okay. So then you would have all these big clubs in there, right? So then that means Inter and AC Milan, because AC Milan's squad is pretty average. You understand what I'm saying? So right now they can acquire world-class players, based on the revenue that they're getting from that ESL league. This is interesting, guys.
Nobody is, and none of, and you realize if the ESL happens, not all of the teams are gonna have world class players. There's still gonna be like 2 or 3 teams at
Mhm.
at the top the whole time. Like it's not gonna be as if Inter is gonna have a chance or Arsenal is gonna have a chance because
Mhm.
the top players are still gonna be playing for the top teams. So
Mhm.
it's just gonna.
So then it's not gonna solve AC Milan's issue, which is that right now they have an average squad. You
That's not the
know.
issue. You don't understand. The owner doesn't give a. They don't care if their squad is average. They care about how much money they're making, and he's gonna solve
True,
the
that's
issue
true,
because
true.
they're gonna make a lot of money. That's the whole problem. It's
That's
greed.
true.
It's all about the money. They don't care about the squad. You think United's management they care about their squad? You think the owner, the board cares about their squad? I mean, look at how they're not good at all. Like, look at how bad they are. They just care about making money. That's the whole point of the ESL. You think United is going to have a chance at winning the ESL? No, if
Yeah, they
Bayern joins,
might. Why not?
They
let's
might
be
they
If
have
honest.
a
they
Come
chance.
actually
on.
join the ESL, right? Everyone who isn't in the ESL just want to join an ESL team, so they might want to choose United. And if they
Why
go
would
to
they go
United,
for United? Why? Why
Basically,
would you
once
go?
you're in the ESL, all that matters is the city that you play in. If people want to
Exactly.
join
Exactly.
Madrid, people want to join Barcelona, Munich is actually quite nice of a place. I'll tell you now, Munich is a significantly better place than Manchester. I lived in both. I
yes.
live in Manchester right now. I lived in Munich 11 years. I can tell you right now, Munich is infinitely better. If you have money, not if you're poor, it's not. But if you have money, Munich is an infinitely better place than Manchester. So if you're a footballer, and basically all you think about is which city is the nicest out of these. So you're either going to Italy or you're going to Spain,
Munich.
or
Spain.
in last case scenario, you're going to Munich. That's really
I
it. You're
don't
not
think
going to
anybody
England.
will go to London.
Why
Like,
why do
no
you
Do you
way.
why
think
do
they
you
will all
think
offer the same
Upamecano
money?
chose why do you think Upamecano chose Bayern? Because Munich has a beautiful city.
That's
So
not really why he joined, but
that's why he joined, man. What are you talking about?
yeah, I mean,
Wait, but
So
do you think
I
all
don't
of
think
them
that's the
will
main
offer the same
reason.
wages?
I don't think it's just about the wages, bro. Like he joined us because we're a club with heritage.
No,
He
no, no.
could have
I'm
joined
talking
like
about
Real
the
Madrid or
ESL teams.
Barcelona. What? Sorry.
No, I was talking about the ESL teams. Do you think Real Madrid will offer the same wages as United, so they can actually just choose the city, or is it like, yeah,
Well,
Real Madrid offers me more money, so I go there.
there
So
you
just
go.
go in
And it will
terms.
be basically the same. Like the reported fees is that the teams are making around 450 million. All of them are making that a year. And since there's no winning, there's no losing. You're basically just playing for the fun of it.
Exactly.
Well, why is it only the fun of it? Isn't like one goes to top of the league, wins the title?
Yes, but the title doesn't mean anything. Who cares about winning the ESL?
Yeah, because there is all of the top clubs are in it. So if I would be happy if I win it. Like
You'll be happy, but you want UCL or ESL? Let's make a quick pop quiz. Give me the correct answer. Which one matters more to you, the UCL or the ESL? A competition that
yeah,
has
right now the
like
UCL
over
because
100 years of
it's
heritage.
probably the biggest competition right now. The
It's
UCL
not
is the
just about
biggest
how
competition
big
right
it is,
now.
bro. It's not just about how big it is at the moment. It's about the history. That's a big part of it as well. Like what it means.
Yeah,
These
I
players,
mean, yeah.
Dude,
It's
you
a lot.
grew up.
It's
Imagine you're a football player. You grew up watching the UCL. You didn't grow up watching the ESL. It's physically
But
impossible because it's
Yeah,
starting
that's
next
the
year.
generation, bro. This could easily change in like 20 years.
yeah, I was just
That's
about to
what I'm
say
20 years,
that.
the
saying.
ECL, it
It
could
can
be the ESL, and
change.
people are dreaming of getting the ESL title, right? So I
Yeah,
don't think
but
it's
like
like
the
that
next
huge
the
of a
next
point.
20, 30 years doesn't affect me immediately. Like we're not talking about the next 30 years. We're talking about the next 10 years, 15 years. And the ESL is not going to mean any. It's going to take a while before the ESL is even
The worst
remotely
part for me,
attractive.
honestly, is that fact that you can't get kicked out of it if you're a founding member. Basically, that just
Yeah,
means
that's
it
right.
doesn't.
That's actually stupid. That's so stupid.
That's
Because it,
that's stupid.
there needs to be stakes. Like, okay, there is a winner, cool, but everyone else, it doesn't matter. With the Champions League, if you're kicked out, there's a chance that you might not be in it next year again. So you have to perform. You're in the league. There is actual stakes. Like if you
Yeah,
get
like
fourth
Dortmund
in the
does.
league,
Yeah.
it's actually important.
But Chelsea
You
said
may,
they left. Chelsea just announced that they left. They
Wait,
were a
Chelsea?
left
founding
what?
father and they left. Chelsea. A
What?
So
group
yeah,
of I was in a group of Chelsea with a group of Chelsea fans and they were telling me like they already left the thing. They joined but then they left
They
so
left what?
actually that is wrong.
the
Whoever told-
ESL.
Yeah, that is wrong, 100%.
Yeah,
That's not
it's
true. They
on
won't
Twitter.
leave. That's
I'll
so
show you.
stupid to leave. That's
It's
nah.
on Twitter.
But you do realize
Until there's no official confirmation, I won't leave it.
They
Yeah.
can't leave it because it hasn't been officially like it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't been like founded.
No, it was like a Chelsea account. A Chelsea account announced it
trust me,
like
there is a lot of fake news going around today. So much fake news. There are people. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even
I'm
joking.
telling
I'm
you,
being
bro.
serious.
No, no, no. I know what you're talking about. Like I've been seeing so many fake news too, but like I don't know what's the truth in that, but it might be true. Like maybe Chelsea did leave.
It's
I
not
don't know.
true. I even
Right,
saw
Nah, it's
some
not
crap
true.
about dude. I saw
Ah,
some crap about Brazzo wanting to join the Super League and trying to convince people to join.
yeah.
Dude, like it's all bullshit. I'm sorry.
Like currently, I'm on the Chelsea subreddit, and there's absolutely no mention of that. And people are saying there's one discussion that's going on. What team will you support next? That's what Chelsea fans are thinking. No.
that's the reason Flake left, right? Because he wants to join the Super League team.
Yeah, but
Oh
once again,
man.
these are real fans. So you see where the real fans are, the ones that absolutely detest. That's just my opinion, though. Like obviously, but the way I see it, there is no way to
I think
justify
it's
it.
I think it's difficult for us because we are like in the time where it changes. But as I said, in 20 years, it might be just the ESL might be the biggest competition, and people
Yeah,
will
dude,
only
but
know it. Like you know,
dude, I don't want to wait 20 years for football to get good again when it's already good now and it doesn't need changing now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Why there is no
But
need to
you
change
know
anything
what's
now.
you know what's crazy? Like before after this happens, because tomorrow UEFA was supposed to announce their new Champions League format, basically,
Yeah,
which will mean like the 36 teams would
and the
be in
Conference
it.
League.
Conference League, yeah, yeah. And then I think they were also going to talk about the away goal rule or something like that. I think they were going to change it or something like that moving forward. So I don't know what's going on, but I have some fishy feeling that this is actually gonna go through.
The ESL will go through. That's not the discussion. The discussion is
Mhm.
whether it's good or not. And like I said, change, obviously, I'm not opposed to change, but within reason, within limits. What's the point of changing the competition? Like I said, why do we have to wait 20 years for football to get good again when it's already good now? There is no
We
need
need
for
an
a
Arsenal
change.
fan TV versus Bayern fan TV matchup to decide the ESL.
Yeah,
I mean,
that we
yeah.
should do
I
it. We
think
should do
one reason for the ESL might be that the US is actually growing in popularity, so they wanna like make football like NFL and NBA, and that might be the reason, right? So they
Well,
just
yeah,
want,
probably, but once again, that's just money. It's not
Yeah,
about the
that's
fans.
money. That's money. 100%. That's money. Yeah.
It's not about the fans, bro. And we're the building blocks behind everything. We're the ones providing revenue. Like the casuals, okay, sometimes they buy a shirt or something, but it's the proper fans. They buy the tickets. They buy like the shirts every season. They actually spend money on the club. We're the ones that matter after all, because we're the ones bringing in the revenue.
So then kit sales will strike like kit sales will be now more expensive, right? Than it used to be before.
I don't know about that. I don't know who regulates that, but ticket prices, like they can just do whatever they want with ticket prices now. Who's gonna regulate them?
Yeah.
UEFA can't say anything. FIFA can't say anything.
I just wanted to ask a question. Let's talk about someone like Kimmich, right? He's a competitive guy. He wants to win everything, hates losing. So, and he's relatively young. If Bayern doesn't join the ESL, there's no reason he's staying, right? Because he wants to win the biggest title.
Dude,
That's
Well,
a good question.
If there is the report that like if you are part of an ESL team, you can't play in the World Cup. So the question is, what will he choose? Will he choose the ESL
Yeah.
or will he choose international titles?
Actually, right.
dude,
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that when I say that the UCL is more important than the ESL, obviously the World Cup is gonna trump it as well. Like I'd even argue that the World Cup means more than a UCL to most players.
Yeah, the World Cup is
probably
the biggest thing you can win.
Exactly.
the
So
biggest sport event in the
so
world. Like it's not
there's
even close.
there's no way you're giving up on the World Cup for the ESL.
But
I'm
are you
sorry.
getting 3.5 billion from the World Cup? I think that's the
The
question.
players aren't winning 3.5 billion. The clubs are, and I think it's a
Yeah,
total of
that's
3.5
that
billion
the
in
World
all of
Cup
them.
is like
It's
The
not
3.5
3.5
million
billion
isn't
to
even
each
that
club.
much. It's
Yeah.
not even that much because like divide that by 20 teams, it's not that much. Whereas like you look at the Premier League right now already, you know, they're already making like 3 billion or 4 billion a year from the TV deal. So the 3.5 billion I know it's only the proposed so far, and there'll definitely be more once all the TV deals are set in place. But like as of right now, that's not that big. That's not that much compared to what's already
That's
happening in the Premier League.
175 million per club. That's nothing.
Yeah, and
I don't
then
wanna
obviously
watch
you
a
still have
World
to
Cup.
factor in the TV deals that will happen obviously in the future once
Yeah,
the ESL has
okay.
been set.
Let's say they all earn half a billion in total for one season.
So what channel is gonna broadcast it on the ESL? What
Well,
channel? What do you guys
definitely not being sport.
We all know
Oh, that
that
would
for
be
sure.
so interesting since they all spent their money on Champions League rights. So
Well, UEFA, like, I think like all the deals are. I mean, obviously, I don't know how long the deals last because that's the question. How long do the
4 to
deals
5
that
years,
are?
I think, or 5 to 6 years, depends on the deal.
Yeah,
Around 5 years,
well, the deals are still
I think.
happening, so they can't put it on the channels which are already being used.
But honestly, I think Amazon, because Amazon is
Yeah,
big
already
player
making
Amazon,
strides.
yeah.
yeah.
They maybe even have a contract already with Amazon. Like, yeah, you get everything. We just don't know it.
Or you could
That
do
would be
some Disney Plus or Paramount Plus type thing. Like, you know, it's just
yeah,
yeah,
might
like
be.
to
We
be
don't know. I mean,
But those are
it's all
usually not
about the
profitable.
money.
Those like Disney Plus is not profitable. Netflix is not profitable. All these
Mhm.
companies are not really profitable. So like you can't really
The zone?
pay clubs with. I think they're just about just about profitable. But like a lot of these like streaming companies are not really that profitable. But what they have is market share. It's very much like the Uber model, where like these companies, Uber for example, they haven't made profit at all, but they wanted to own the market. So like when you think of taxi now, or you think of a cab now, the first person you think of is Uber, and that's basically what they want it to be because now they have that control. Now they can raise the prices, and the zone and all these companies that are in talks, they could very much do that because they do have that initial capital.
What if they go by a pay-per-view model?
No, I'm against that.
Nah,
Hugely
no
against that.
way.
I don't put it past them.
we've seen the outcry this season already when BT Sport and Sky Sport tried to doing that in the UK. Yeah, they wanted to charge, I think it was £16 per game, and it was so bad. It was so bad. Nobody bought it. That like after like 2 weeks or so, they immediately cancelled the idea because people wouldn't pay for it.
Well, hopefully they do it, and then they cancel the ESL, so it's a win-win.
I don't even care. I've been streaming everything.
Crack Stream exists for a reason.
I
exactly.
use BOIII. I don't know if you guys know it.
Yeah, you see it on myself.
Because we used to have like soccer streams on Reddit, but bye.
That died. Yep, I know. You still have that.
It's gonna die
with live on score.tv. That's basically the soccer stream, the old soccer streams from Reddit. But that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Really?
Anyways, the way I see it, like there's
It's
no
gonna
winning.
die.
There's no winning with the ESL, like except for the big clubs, but like objectively, the bigger picture, there is no winning. Like it's gonna be a lot. Like objectively, it's a loss, and especially for clubs like Bayern. I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea, and it's greedy, and nobody supports it for a reason. So they're just proving my point, I guess.
I mean, for me, it's very simple. I've got a very simple stance on this whole thing. For me, if the ESL happens, Bayern will join. I know that right now they might not be part of it right now, but ultimately they will join. And once they officially join, I'll be done with football, and then this channel will also be done. So that will be the last time I'll ever watch football.
Will join as well.
No.
They're not part of the discussion. Like tickets.
Bayern Fan TV, don't leave us, man. Come on now. Come on.
No, I'm just telling you how it is. Because if there's nothing to watch in football, if it's just for the fun of it, then I'll just stick to youth football. I've enjoyed that more than more than the adult football, if I'm being honest.
I 100% agree with you. There's no reason to watch football. Except for the World Cup, there's no reason to watch football.
I would still watch football. I like Bayern club. I like the players. I love Lewandowski.
Yeah.
I just watch it.
We still want to watch.
The question
I want
is
them
like,
to win this ESL thing and just shit talk on Chelsea City and every other club in the world. Been telling them we are the best club in the world, and you see it right now.
Yes, and that's the beauty of this ESL.
dude,
We're finally going to know. No
beauty in it.
No. Listen,
Yeah.
we're finally gonna know who the actual best team is in the world.
Dude,
You know, from years and years.
How long does this
Years
last?
and years. Let me tell you
Maybe
something.
the first
Years and
ESL
years.
season, but then the next season, I'm gonna be like, what, Real Madrid, Bayern? I've seen that like 50 times last season. What is the point? Like,
Oh,
this only lasts for a while. This is temporary happiness. Like, but next season, it's just gonna get boring again. It's not sustainable in my opinion. It's fun for the masses. It is fun for the masses, but even they don't stay committed to watching stuff for long. So it's gonna be fun for a while. It's like a short blast of fun, and then what? You can't stay committed to one team. Say goodbye to being a proper fan. It's just about watching for fun, I guess. I don't know. That's just the way I see it.
Philip Wallinger, if you don't mind me asking, because obviously you seem to be an Arsenal fan, what are your thoughts on the ESL since your team is obviously part of the foundation? Us four, here in this discussion are pretty much split. With me and Bayern fan having the same opinion, I think. Core football being absolutely in love with the ESL. And Crick's
bro. Hey, if you say I'm in love, it's fine. It's okay, man.
I mean, you've basically been advocating the whole time.
Yeah.
Chris Payne seems to be sort of on the fence. It feels like, but not quite. Not sure. Like me and Bayern fan are completely against it. I don't know.
The way I see it is this. So, just my final opinion. I think it's bullshit. Obviously, I don't think it's sustainable. But regarding the future, it will all depend on what UEFA says tomorrow. Because if the World Cup thing happens with like restricting players from playing in the World Cup, then I don't think there's an incentive to play in the ESL, and a lot of players are going to leave the clubs that are joining and join other clubs. So it all depends on what UEFA says tomorrow, I guess, and the the sanctions they apply.
I
And
don't want to
regarding
get
Bayern
slapstick
joining,
though.
yeah, regarding like Bayern joining, I think it's a bit of a grim outlook to say that they're going to join for sure because you never know. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like, we'll see. We'll see. It all depends on what UEFA says tomorrow and the sanctions they impose.
UEFA are not going to do much as usual. I'm not expecting anything from them.
Yeah, I don't even think they have that much power. Like, what should they do except for banning them from playing the World Cup?
Bro,
Well, UEFA
Florentino
and FIFA,
Florentino Perez is more powerful than the whole FIFA board and
Yeah,
UEFA.
I feel like
That's what I was telling
that's not
you.
necessarily true. Like FIFA runs the World Cup, so if and UEFA and FIFA are
Florentino Perez just
collaborating,
create a new World Cup. He doesn't care.
I saw a fake quote on Twitter earlier about this that said something like Florentino Perez saying if the players participating in the ESL are banned from the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, then we will just create our own World Cup. I think there was a
Yeah,
fake
right.
quote like that.
No, but
But I
that
think-
could happen. That could happen.
how could that happen, dude? The national teams are, dude. Come on, man. What are these discussions, bro? This is useless, dude. It's I'd say it's more fact than an opinion when I say that the ESL isn't sustainable. And okay, whether UEFA and FIFA apply sanctions or not, the sanctions are going to be there. It just depends on how harsh they are. But like I said, I guess we'll just see. I don't know. These discussions won't change anything at the end of the day. Like we're still going to find out the following days. But what I can say for sure is it's a disgrace and it's all fueled by greed and money. That's the only thing I can say about this for sure. It's not about the fans. It's not about players. It's all about money and greed. And if the players like have any backbone whatsoever, they're gonna be against it.
I'm just asking, do you guys actually believe that the Champions League show us the best team in this season? Like, is it a good representative cup? I feel like it's
Yeah.
not. I feel like it's much about
I think it
who do I
absolutely is.
draw.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because you have to perform on the stage, at that moment. That's what I love cup competitions. Because like you have to perform. Like you can't have a bad game, you can't have an off day. You have to perform in that home and away game, otherwise you're out. And
So-
every team, every league, every league in terms of like coefficients with the relevant coefficients is able to participate. So there's no one that's like being excluded because you're from Holland, you're from the Netherlands, so Ajax, sorry, you can't be in there. We only have these 12, 15 teams, and then like one team from like this league, one team from that league, sorry, you don't make the cut. There's nothing like that. It's if you're there through merit, if your country has made it, with the coefficients, then you're allowed to be there through merit, and then you can, depending on your performance, you can make it as far as possible. So I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful, actually, and I think it represents the best in Europe, the best on the day from the teams in Europe, and those are the ones basically those are the ones that have made it all the way to the top, and those are the ones that have proven themselves against other European champions, which is obviously why it's called the Champions League. So I think it's a great representation.
Wouldn't you agree if I say Bayern are a better club than Chelsea in this season, but they reached the semi-finals, but we just didn't reach the semi-finals, which it's kind of I don't know.
Well,
I just heard people saying Bayern is a small club. Just
And
Chelsea-
plus, we're hearing that PSG could be crowned champions sooner or later.
dude, PSG beat us, so they should be crowned champions. In any case, I'd say circumstance also dictates if you're the best team in the world or not. Like your whole season might have been amazing, but one of your main players gets injured, then you lose. Okay, so be it, you didn't deserve to win. You weren't good enough at like handling your squad or like maintaining your players' health. You weren't good enough at doing that. So be it. He got injured. You lost. It's all due to circumstance. Whether or not it's fair, that's something I think. Actually, I think it's very fair. Injuries happen in football. It's a contact sport. Like that's just the way the sport is. So yeah, the Champions League is very fair. We might be the best team in the world, overall. But at the moment when we played PSG, we weren't the best team in the world. PSG was the best team in the world, and they showed
You
it.
have to prove it. You have to prove it every single game. And that's exactly what the Champions League is there for. That's exactly what cup competitions are there for. You have to prove it every single game, every single time. And if you don't, then you're not the best. Because if you can't prove it every single time against all the other teams that you're facing, then that's just the way it is. You
Yeah.
don't deserve to be there. There are no excuses.
And with the ESL, you're never gonna see like, for example, Ajax like 2 years ago in the Champions League. You're never gonna see Ajax reaching the semifinal because first of all, it's a league format, and I doubt over like multiple matches Ajax could beat the big teams. Second of all, like Ajax might not even be in the ESL most of the time.
But if they can't beat them over some games, then they are not a top club, right? So they
That's not
shouldn't be
true.
winning the
They
title.
might not
They
be.
shouldn't be
They
winning the
might
title
not
if they
be bigger
can't do top
overall,
teams.
dude. They might not be bigger overall, but that season, that moment, they might have been better, bro. The whole point of being a good team, like, is being able to perform on the spot, like having multiple. There's there's like, bro, there's use to both knockout games and league games, but I don't think it's good to combine the both, like both of them. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
combining both league games and knockout games doesn't really make any sense, and that's what they want to do with with the ESL, as far as I know. They want to make it.
I'll give you a good example, a relevant example. Maybe not that relevant, but a relevant example. In the 1974-1975 season, I know we're going back a long time ago here, but in the 1974, neither was I, if I'm being honest, 20 years before my time.
I wasn't even planned.
But in the 1974-1975 season, Bayern ended up being 10th in the league. But because we won the, well, back then it was called the European Cup, because we won the European Cup the previous season, we were back in it. In the ESL, we would not have been back in it. So even though we would have been, even though we would have won the competition the prior year before that, because we ended up being 10th in the league, we would not have been in the ESL. So is that fair then? We have the best team. We proved it in the biggest club competition, I guess, in the world. But because we couldn't, because our whole focus was focused on that, should we now not be in a competition? That's an argument to be made. But obviously, the point I'm trying to make is this: there was a focus. There was a clear effort from Bayern. Okay, we won 3 European Cups in a row, 74, 75, and 76. We won 3 of them in a row because that was where our focus lied. There is no focus on the ESL because there's no competitive integrity. There is no, you either first, but you can't get relegated. So there's no stakes. If after like the 3rd game, okay, you know what, fair enough, we can't win it anymore because we're already so far behind. What's the point of playing? You basically just show up, get your money, go home.
Exactly.
That's what it's going to be.
Like the main criticism here is, and people that nobody can argue against because it's true, is it's not based on merit. The Champions League is based on merit, and the ESL is not. Why are those 12 teams assured spots? Why do they have guaranteed spots and the other teams don't? Because they have money. Because they want
because
that.
it's their competition, right? I feel it's just like, yeah, that's their competition, so they might just want to be in it. And
No,
if
like
the other club
why are
decides to
they
join
why are
in,
they
so
guaranteed spots? And you know why they're guaranteed spots? Because they bring in the most viewers. That's
yeah,
why they're guaranteed spots. That's not right. It should be all based on merit. If you want it to be fair, it's based on merit, not on how many viewers you bring in. You understand what I'm saying? So that is the main criticism. The main criticism is that the big clubs are doing it so that they can bring in money and they don't have to, without any risk being there. And that's the problem, bro. Football, it's a sport. It's a competitive sport. It should be based on merit and not on how much money and viewers you bring in. And that is the main criticism. And that's something I haven't heard anybody have a good argument against so far. And I doubt anybody will come up with one. That's all I have to say.
if you want to watch the DFB Pokal in Germany, right, and if you want to watch it on TV, there might be a chance that the only Bayern games will be actually broadcasted because they are the one that gets the most views. So I feel like that's a fair point. And no one's been complaining about it. It's like if Bayern plays against fucking Drossel in the sixth league, they will still broadcast it, even though Dortmund plays against Hamburg as well. Hamburg, they don't care.
Yeah, bro. But what you don't understand is the team we're playing, even if it is broadcasted, is a small team. They still have a chance to beat us. But in the ESL, the small team can't even be there. That's what you
I
don't
mean, we lost to
understand.
Kiel, right? So yeah.
Exactly.
Like
Good example.
broadcast,
Great example.
exactly. Yeah, broadcasting doesn't matter, bro. It's once again we're talking about money, numbers. Th- This isn't what football is about. Football is about winning titles. It's about like merit, like I said. And in the ESL, it's not based on merit. It's based on viewership and money. And these are exactly the things that are ruining football nowadays. And
I'm the only thing I'm like fine with it. It's like people are so boring right now. I just can't see me watching us playing against Freiburg, Augsburg, and the next week we will play against Mainz. I don't know. Like even if we lose this, it doesn't change anything. We will still win the league. The only big games that matters are Leipzig, Dortmund. Maybe this one against Wolfsburg was pretty good, and that's it. Like it
but
doesn't matter.
that's fine, bro. We deserve to win. But at least the small teams have a chance. At least there's risk, there's excitement
But
for the
there
other
is no
fans,
risk.
bro.
The
Like
the small
for
teams
you,
don't
bro,
have a chance winning the Bundesliga. No,
for you.
no, bro.
But there's other
Can you
fans.
please be honest?
What about
How
the
do they win
dude,
this
dude?
league? It's not
What ab-
possible with Bayern in
what
it.
about the fans of the teams that are getting relegated? Relegated. That's excitement in itself. Like you don't want your team to get
Yeah,
relegated.
but
You want them to
then
stay up.
Bayern is not needed in it. Bayern is not needed. If it's all about relegation, it's not needed. Why is Bayern needed in it? If the
Bayern, you
title
know
is
what?
already
You know why
decided before
Bayern
the
is
season
needed,
even
bro?
starts,
Because Bayern brings in the most revenue. Without Bayern, the small teams don't have that much money. You understand? The big teams are
yeah, but
needed
that's another.
in the
Yeah,
leagues. Exactly. You can't remove them from the leagues. And once you bring in the ESL, there's no incentive to watch the Bundesliga because it's a league format and it's every single week. It's not like every single month like the UCL is. So it's a bad idea, and nobody has been able like to argue against it. I'm sorry, that's the way I see it. Because like I
I
said, the
just
big thing is
yeah.
merit, bro. It's merit. Yeah, we like. Uh, I'd be the first one to admit if Bayern gets like sixth place in Bundesliga, we don't deserve to be in the UCL. Why
I
would we
still
deserve
think
to
we
be in
should
the
because we
ESL?
are the best team in the league by far. Like it's not even
We,
close.
if we get fifth place, how are we the best team in the league?
How should we even place fifth? That's not possible with our money. That is
I
legit
said
is
as a
not
hypothetical,
possible.
bro. Bro, I said as a hypothetical, if we get fifth place in the Bundesliga, why
Yeah,
would we deserve to be in the UCL above another team that like placed above us?
I mean that's fair.
Exactly. That's all I had to say.
I just
What
seen
would you
some
say,
tweets like
Bayern Fan TV?
Look, I'll say this: the ESL is not the death of football. It's not the death of football, like many people, myself included, have already called it, but it is the death of the football as we know it. In the future, as you said, Quickspan, in the future, say 20 years down the line, people that have grown up with the ESL, they'll love the ESL. There is no mistake about that. And as I said, I think the ESL is 100% going to happen. I think Bayern are putting a stand right now to say, okay, we're not joining it immediately, but once the pressure is on, once all these other clubs have joined, once it's actually going to go ahead, that's when Bayern is going to join as well, unfortunately. I'll say this: many people that have watched football all this time up to now, such as myself, will probably be done with football. But at the end of the day, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, people that have only known the ESL, people that don't know what the Champions League is about, they don't know what. Same with the European Cup competition in the past. People that have never seen that will, they won't miss that. So people won't miss the UCL. They'll only know the ESL. They'll only know this competition, and ultimately they'll love it. Won't be me. I'll be honest. I can't watch something where, for me, it's all about meritocracy. You have to earn your place. You have to be there. You have to earn your place to be there. You can't just be a founding member and then just be immune from anything and everything. To me, that's just not fair. Yes, I am a Bayern fan first and foremost, but ultimately, I do want things to be handled in a fair manner. I want things to be equal at the end of the day. I don't want anyone. Teams should have an advantage because of what they've done in their history. They should have an advantage because of the money that they've made in their as a club, because they've made some smart dealings. They've signed some good players. They've got some fantastic managers. They've done some fantastic work behind the scene. That's all good and fine with me. But like, if there's already an inherent advantage or an inherent disadvantage where, okay, because you were part of these original 15 clubs, now you're forever immune for anything, to me that's just BS. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'll say this: if ESL happens, and it will happen, I'm out.
Yeah, but the question is now, under what circumstances will it happen? Like I said, I think if UEFA impose sanctions, okay, you might not have these big clubs anymore, but I think the players will leave, and I think Bayern might not even join. So I don't know. I think all hope is not lost yet, even if the ESL does start. I don't think all hope is lost.
I've seen some tweets like Bayern and PSG staying in their leagues because they all want to stay in their farmer leagues, and people didn't say it just because we always win the league, right? But that's not even true. I think they won't join it like now is because they know how fans will react, right? So they know most of us will not be quite enjoyed about it. So it will be exciting to see how it will turn out.
Dude, even as a fan, like, why would you want your club in the ESL? There's nothing fun about it. It's
I see a lot of points why you would want it. Because even as a fan, as I said, I want Bayern to be the best teams in the world, right? Because Bayern is one of the best teams in the world, and I wanted to beat them. Just I don't care about the Champions League if we beat I don't know, Wolfsburg and Aston Villa. I don't care about it. I want Bayern to beat Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona. That's the team I want to see, right? So that's why I want Bayern there. But I can also see the point that it will ruin everything we have now, and I don't know, it's difficult. I just want Bayern to succeed, but it's hard for me to.
No, I agree with you 100%. But like, if we destroy Real Madrid and Real Madrid have a terrible season in the ESL, why do they deserve to stay in the ESL? That is the question. Because they don't. Like, as much as I want to see us destroy Real Madrid, I would want to see them get relegated as well. Why can't they get relegated? Because they're a big club? That doesn't make any sense. Like Bayern Fan TV said, it's all about meritocracy, and there is no merit in the ESL. Like,
Yeah, I feel like that's big. That's a big point, and you can't
there's
argue about it.
yeah,
You just can't say why Manchester United should stay in the ESL if they place last, if they just didn't win a single game, if they even can't come close to the other teams in the league. So why would they stay in? Yeah, the only reason is the money, and that is not football. That is, I don't know what it is, but it's not football.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
We see
Miracle of the
Hamburg
small
struggling in the
clubs.
second league.
Sorry.
Say it again, Bayern Fantasy.
Now I was going to go on a different point, so I'll just let you finish.
Now I just said that we see Hamburg struggle in the second league, and 6 years ago, no one would have said it that Hamburg would struggle in the second league, right? But now we could say, yeah, they didn't deserve to get up in the first league again. Now, I feel like not being able to relegate is just it's stupid. I don't like it. I mean, I think I would have been a fan if like the best teams from other leagues could join if they got first place. If like Frankfurt wins the Bundesliga, they could join the ESL, and the one who plays last would just relegate. I mean, it would be difficult, but I think it would be more fair than it is now.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
Somebody
in
said
essence,
that.
you basically just have the Champions League in that case.
Yeah.
You just have a different format Champions League. The proposed format that's going to happen, that's supposed to happen next season. We don't know if that's even the case anymore because of all these changes now. So who knows?
I mean, they
But
want
for me,
the Swiss model,
for
right?
me, the magic of football is always the smaller teams. As this comment kind of alluded to, it's the magic of the smaller teams that I very much always like seeing. It's like, for example, I know they're not necessarily a small team, but because they've just gotten promoted, I like watching the likes of Leeds United. They're fantastic because they're not a team that people expect to do well, but because they've done some smart planning, they've done some smart signing, they've done smart business, they're now doing relatively well. You look at Union Berlin, for example, who have done extremely well this season. Just like the magic of the smaller clubs doing really well and then being rewarded for it. As I said earlier, with like Hoffenheim, they used to be relegation candidates. Then you had Nagelsmann take over halfway through the season, saved them from relegation, and then the following season after that, he got them into European places for like 2 years in a row. Like just being able to like have that happen, if you don't have those rewards for say anything besides first, if there's only 5 teams in world football that can join the ESL each season, and those 5 teams then get replaced, I guess, then there's just no point. Like 5 teams. Okay, is it going to be like 1 team from each major league? So 1 team from the Premier League, 1 team from the Bundesliga, 1 team from La Liga. We don't even know how that's going to work. So if it's just one team from each of those leagues, then basically places 1 to 4 are irrelevant because places 1 is generally going to be the team that is already in the ESL. For the Premier League, I guess you'd have the top 6 that are basically irrelevant because then the 7th team is going to be the team that makes it to the ESL. So how's that going to work? You suddenly got like West Ham United in 7th, who are then in the ESL playing against Real Madrid and whatnot. And because there's such a huge disparity, they can't win because they just can't make it. Because these teams in the ESL they're already there, and even if the West Ham do amazing in the ESL, they're going to get kicked out the following year. So what's the point of them even going there?
Wait, why did they get kicked out? If they do well,
because
how does it work? How does it work?
The 15 founding teams, they're going to be safe, but there's going to be 5 new teams each season, from what I've read. So the 5 teams that made it in there are going to be kicked out.
Dude,
yeah.
The way it works is like this: like you got the 15 founding teams, like that stay there constantly, and 5 teams that are put in based on their performance in their domestic leagues. And I think other competitions. So even if a team like wins the ESL out of those 5 teams, if that team doesn't do well in their domestic league, they can't be in it the next season, for example. But we already said this like a while. I think Bayern Fan TV said it a while ago.
Nah, I wasn't here. I just joined like an hour ago, like half an hour ago. So that's interesting. So if West Ham somehow managed to get in the ESL and just somehow managed to win it, but like places 8th in the Premier League, so they won't be in the ESL the next season.
That's the thing. I'm not sure. It might be the case where if you win it, you get that 5th, like you get one of the 5 spots automatically.
Yeah.
But I don't
even
know.
if they get second, that would be huge for them. Like getting second in the league with Real Madrid, Barcelona, United, and Bayern. It's huge.
It's horrible. I feel like we're just playing FIFA in real life.
Yeah, it's like in
Manager.
FIFA. If you create your own league, you create your own Super League in FIFA.
Yeah, and but like, what's to say? Like for the players, what incentive is there to play for Bayern? Like, players can just swap between clubs whenever they please. You know what I mean? They can just like swap each other out. Like, what's the incentive? I don't know.
One thing that I will say, Nick Ronaldo, UEFA has already gotten rid of financial fair play. That's not a thing anymore, which basically highlights how weak UEFA are. Because the second there was any sort of pressure, granted, financial fair play never should have been a thing just based on European law. But the second there was any sort of pressure on financial fair play, they caved. And that's why I don't think UEFA will do anything about this ESL. I know this ESL will basically determine whether the UEFA Champions League is still a thing in the future, but they're not going to do anything. Tomorrow they're going to come out with some generic statement, and that's not going to do anything. If they really wanted to put a stamp down, World Cup, kick the teams out that are currently in the Champions League, do that, and forbid the players from playing in the World Cups. That's what I would do. But I know UEFA won't do that. And that's just the fact of life, because these clubs have gotten bigger than football. They've gotten bigger than UEFA itself.
Well,
UEFA and FIFA, they've gotten
those
bigger
are the
than those two
rumors,
organizations.
Those are the rumors. Like these are things that they might actually do. So I think maybe it is a possibility.
How did you guys react when the first news hit like this? Did you already knew that it will happen, or did you guys hope for it to be like some kind of fake or some?
Dude, I knew the Super League was gonna happen, but I did not think it would be this season or next season.
Right, it was so quick. Like it dropped, and now it's like official already. It's official.
Dude, I was getting ready for us to win the Champions League next season, maybe, but no. Plus, like the big deal for us now has been like Flick leaving, which I don't think will happen either. But I guess we'll see.
Let's see if he leaves.
At the end of the day, we'll all see how it pans out. I knew it was going to happen. I'll be honest. I knew this was going to happen sooner or later. I thought 2023, honestly. I didn't think now. I thought 2023, because I thought, okay, they're not going to do it while the pandemic is a thing.
Yeah.
I thought they're going to wait until that has kind of eased off. But the plan, the Super League has been a thing for like the last 10 years. But like when the report came out in 2018 that said it's going to happen in 2021, I thought, okay, that sounds a bit soon. But then you look at now, and it's like, okay, well, it's 2021 and it's happening. So guess those reports from football leagues were right after all. But I knew this was going to happen. I expect this to happen within the next 5 years for sure.
Yeah. All I know is these past 2 years, especially with COVID, have been absolutely crazy. We won the Champions League, which I never would have expected when Kovac was coach. And now this is happening, and COVID and everything. It's been a crazy year. Like last year especially.
Man, I was so sad when Lewandowski didn't play. I was so sad, man. I don't think we would 100% won, but it just feels so bad.
No, we would have won for sure.
You think so?
Yes. There's no way. I mean, I can't be sure, but I'm pretty certain we would have won. Like, this is for me at least. Like, it's been a long time since I've been like this sure, this assured that this Bayern team can win the UCL. Because like before with Guardiola, it was I knew for sure we were probably gonna exit in the semifinals or something, or some bullshit with Real Madrid, you know. But like I feel like Flick has brought that confidence back in the team. Like for sure he's gonna bring in the results.
Yeah, guess you're right. I'm so sad.
Guess I'm in the minority here. I didn't think we'd win the Champions League this season, but okay, fair enough.
This season
or next season?
Why? Because of Manchester City? That's so good.
No. For a stupid reason. For a very stupid reason, I didn't think we'd win it because we didn't have a Croatian on the team.
Croatian, yeah.
I keep saying that. People think I'm joking, but I'm actually being 100% serious.
Yeah,
there are things in football that just don't make sense.
I also heard you say that, but we have that young right back, or what position does he play? He's a Croatian.
Young right back
or left back, or I know for sure we had a Croatian in the squad against the Union Berlin. I think the game we played before the second PSG.
Yeah, but not in like European squad.
Yeah, I don't think he's in the European squad.
It's a silly reason for me not to think that we win the Champions League, but there are things like that in football that always have been the case, and it's sad actually. Now that I'm saying all that, because football is basically dead. But now I'm saying, but there are things in football that just always somehow work out like that. It's like whoever touches the Champions League trophies before the final loses that final. If you don't have a Croatian on your team, what?
Isn't it crazy that we just might have lost our last chance to win the Champions League?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
It's
so
it.
crazy.
that's so depressing. But we
I
won it
actually,
last
I
year.
really hope that tomorrow, or today actually for me, that UEFA announces, you know what, all the teams that have joined the ESL are kicked out from this season's Champions League competition, and PSG win it. So PSG made the automatic winner because that would mean that we were the last quote unquote legitimate Champions League winner. I really hope UEFA does something like that, just to
I'm,
spite.
I'm also happy because we have more trophies than Barcelona and Liverpool. Or no, we're tied with Liverpool, right? Does Liverpool
We're
have
tied with
6 Champions
Liverpool. We both have
Leagues?
6.
As a,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just happy we're over Barcelona. Means a lot
that's huge, dude. That's
because
huge.
we're never I don't think we're ever reaching Real Madrid ever.
No.
But the question is now, what happens with the UCL? What happens with the UCL titles? Where do they go?
No, those are basically irrelevant now.
No, that was
Like most trophies in world football, Europa League trophies are irrelevant, Champions League trophies are irrelevant. If the ESL happens, that's the only thing that's going to matter now, which means that all the trophies won in the past, all the European trophies won in the past, are irrelevant.
I just hope the players speak up. But I don't know. Like I said, you tend to be right most of the time. So kind of making me depressed here.
Well,
Bayern Fan TV. I have a question.
go on.
I was asking. So if PSG doesn't join it now, like this season, you think players like Mbappe will stay in Paris, or will they just leave because they actually want to play on the biggest competitive stage?
Neymar won't leave. Mbappe, I'm not sure because he already won a World Cup. But Neymar won't leave because playing for Brazil is a much bigger honor and prestige than playing against certain teams in European competition. Obviously, that's assuming, and I'm fully assuming this part, that UEFA will basically block any football player who plays in the ESL to play for the country. If FIFA does
that would be so huge. I can't see them doing it because the players
they
are
have
the one
to.
who carry the World
If
Cup.
if UEFA want to stay alive, they have to. If they don't, then the Champions League and Europa League, it's over. It's done. Like if tomorrow they come out and they don't say that, then it's over and done. And forget the Champions League; it's never coming back.
But
Forget the Europa League; it's never coming back.
I
They
think
have
it's
to do
already.
that unless it's over.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's already relatively confirmed that they're gonna do that for sure.
Well, it's very strong rumors, but like nothing said outright.
Yeah, I think it's rumors. But
Also,
isn't it like
If they do that, if they do that, right, then I think suddenly the ESL loses a lot of steam because you've got so many players that that want to win with their country, and they're gonna be like, "Nah, I'm not gonna play for an ESL team."
That's right. That's the only chance of them actually doing something, right? Blocking them.
Also, dude, the question would be, who would have the money to buy Mbappe right now?
That's questionable.
I mean, if you're making 400 million because JP Morgan pays you that much to create this ESL, because that's what the rumors are saying, that each club is going to get 400 million. That's what JP Morgan is paying them.
So everyone can buy.
So you've got 400 million. You can pay for Mbappe. There you go.
Yeah, but Barcelona.
And for Haaland.
Let me give an example. Barcelona has 1.3 billion dollars in debt, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but they don't count that. If they need the player to buy, I'm pretty sure they will. I don't think that. I feel like
Barcelona is in bad debt. They're in bad debt, but then you look at some of the other teams in there that have good debt, where they don't have immediate creditors, so like they could afford it. Barcelona perhaps not so much because they are in really bad debt. But they might sell players. Messi might be like, what? I want to have one last World Cup. I want to really try to win that World Cup. So sell me Barcelona. They might do that.
It's gonna be huge.
I can't see Messi. Where would he play if he leaves Barcelona and if he doesn't join an ESL team? Where would he play? Play for Augsburg?
Bayern better give him a call. Bayern or PSG better.
PSG. Nah,
look. At the end of the day, we're expecting these players to say something tomorrow. I don't think they will, because ultimately, if they did, they would look foolish in a year or two down the line. But the players, they're not going to say anything because this is affecting them, and these players most of them are cowards. Let's face it, most of them they'll stand up for a common good cause that isn't controversial, that isn't affecting them. They'll stand up for that. They'll say something nice about that. They'll kneel or do this and this. But like when it actually comes down to something that affects them, they're not going to say anything. Let's be real. How many players are actually going to come out tomorrow and say anything? Like, there's going to be a few, granted, but not many.
I was asking
What
the
about
same.
all the pundits that have already came out? Have they already come
Yeah,
out?
but the pundits, they work for Sky Sport, BT Sport. BT Sport and Sky Sport, they hate the ESL because they've invested so much money in the Premier League, in the Champions League, in getting the rights. So of course they want their own pundits to come out and say all that. But like the players themselves, the players that will actually affect, they will not say anything. They'll say quiet tomorrow.
Yo, what about players extending their contract at the club? Did they know about it? Did they know about the ESL? They sure did, right? So they
No,
They can't have known about it.
No.
You don't think so?
Dude, this was something that happened behind the scenes between the owners, Perez and the other slimy guys.
So Neymar
And-
extended without knowing that they won't be joining the ESL. So
Yes.
Modric extended without him knowing that Real Madrid will be playing the ESL the next season. That's huge.
100%.
I mean, that's exactly who I think the ESL will be for. Players that are nearing a retirement or players that are old enough to retire because they're not going to play for the country anymore. So, why not join the ESL, make some money, make some bucks, and then, leave. That's kind of what I think the ESL will be, at least immediately. Not long-term, but immediately I think it will be sort of like a retirement home.
Well, then what's the incentive for the big clubs to join? You're no longer a big club.
Because you're making up money.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm just happy we got to see the Ronaldo Messi era and the UCL golden age and everything.
Did you see the tweet about people in 10 years will be like, Ronaldo played, just won the Champions League, what a farmer, and didn't manage to win the ESL. That's so sad.
Yeah, who knows what'll happen, but I doubt it's something that's sustainable. So I don't think it's gonna last for that long, in my opinion. But I don't know.
We'll see. We will see. We will
Who's
see.
to say? Who's to say that Bayern's gonna be a big club in 10 years, 20 years? We might end up like AC Milan.
The only reason why I don't think that could ever happen is because of Germany itself. The country of Germany loves football too much, and Bayern is obviously at the center of that. So that's the only reason why I don't think that could ever happen. Because football is bigger than Netherlands, but it's not that big.
Yeah, I agree. Well, then why did AC Milan fall as far down as they did? Because the Italians love football as well.
Because there's actually competition in Italy, right? They can't.
It's not much really extra competition, but it's the fact that the money was just badly invested.
Yeah, well,
if you've got money and you invested badly, that's not on the club itself. That's on you. And you see now when they've started investing smartly again, suddenly they're competing for the Serie A.
Yeah. Well, I think the billions they got from that new investor also helped them a lot. So, yeah, I don't know.
You guys think that Bayern's falling apart right now? Like with all this fake drama? And
nah,
I just think it's Klose saying that he doesn't like the way people communicate with each other. It's strange, man.
I think it's exaggerated by the media, in my opinion. Everything that's going on, I don't think it's that serious.
The year that Bayern, but the year that there is no incidents or nothing being discussed at Bayern is the year I start to worry. This right now to me is just normal. It's the same as usual. There's some sort of drama going on. It doesn't matter. Next season there'll be something else going on. It won't matter. I don't think there's any worry. I don't think there's any need to worry about Bayern. Bayern will be fine. It will be just fine the way it has always been and the way it will always be. Because the people in charge are not idiots. They may have disagreements. There may be discussions that are going on and so on and so forth. But the people in charge are not idiots. They got their way, funny enough, through meritocracy. They didn't get their way because of a freebie. They got their way through meritocracy.
I better hope we pay that 20 million to Leipzig to get Nagelsmann if Flick decides to leave. I mean, it's expensive for sure, but I don't see anyone else being able to manage us.
Ten Hag.
Mourinho.
Yeah, I really want Mourinho. I don't know why people hate him so much. I mean, I know why they hate him, but I really would like him to coach Bayern. 'Cause I like him.
Now, there are two versions of Mourinho. There is, at least for me, there is the 2012 Real Madrid version of Mourinho that I would take in a heartbeat. I would absolutely take in a heartbeat. The 2012 counter-attacking, okay, we're just going to score. We're going to have the record for the most amount of goals scored, so on and so forth. And then there is the Mourinho, the modern Mourinho, the current Mourinho, where I'm like, bro, what happened to you? Where is your arrogance? Where is your spunk? What's going on? Where is he actually managing games, managing players? What happened? So there are two versions of him. If you get the 2012 version, I'll sign him in a heart. I'll fly him to Munich myself. If you get the current version, I'm blocking. I'm blocking the airport.
Also, one thing you said, like I can't remember if it was your last video about man managers and tactical managers. The thing with Mourinho is like I feel like he's a bit of both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it was your Flick video, your last one, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I feel like he's a bit of both. Like he's a man manager, but he's also tactically adept. Like even more so than a normal man manager would be like Zidane or Flick. But yeah, I really like him. I like his personality, the way he handles his players. I don't know if you saw the video of one of his like after Inter won the UCL against us, obviously in 2010, like when the players are
That never
crying and
happened.
stuff.
That never happened. What are we talking about?
Bro,
There was
why
no
do you
football
have
that
to
year.
remind me of that, bro?
There was no football that
Oh.
year.
Yeah, of course. I forgot. Anyways, my point is like he's really close to his players, and like I really like that about him. You know,
That's
I just
fair.
wish my dream would be for him to come to Bayern, but who knows, one day.
Nah. I can see Tottenham sacking him because it's not that good.
He's not that good now because he's managing like doo-doo clubs, but who knows? I mean,
Well, those clubs that you just described as Dudo,
Yeah.
Dudu, are the same team that are in the ESL.
Yeah.
yeah.
How dare
I-
you
I-
call them doo-doo there? They're
I
probably
feel
the
like
best clubs.
with Mourinho, a big problem is like football changed, but he hasn't. I think that's a problem as well with him. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways.
unless I said this an hour ago, but unless anyone has anything else to say, I'd call it quits because I need to get myself some food. Because what time is it? Let me have a quick look. It's 4:30.
How-
Nice.
How is the sleep schedule, bro? Like, I have university tomorrow, so I should be sleeping right now, but it's like this whole thing got me like I need to wake up. But why are you still awake? Like, I don't get it.
I wake up at like 10 p.m. I wake up at night. I don't sleep during the day. Well, I sleep during the day. I'm not awake during the day.
Is it because COVID and you have nothing to do, or was it the reason?
No, that's just normal for me.
But is this how you like? Are you still at uni, if I may ask?
No, nope.
Oh yeah, you graduated, right?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So I work from home, so I can work essentially whenever I want. So sleep schedules don't really affect me, and I just like the night a lot more because it's a lot quieter and a lot colder during the night. That's why I sleep during the day.
Man, it's cold enough in England. It's also cold, very cold in Germany right now, so it doesn't matter, I guess.
For me, it's less about being cold, but I never open my windows after like 8 p.m. Because the thing about England is, and I'll tell you this right now, I hate it so much. If you open your windows anytime after like 6 p.m., the second the sun is down, if you open your windows, you'll have a bug infestation in your room. That's what I'm gonna tell. Like, you open a window for like 5 seconds, you'll have 100 flies in your room for some reason. You'll have basically a bug's life come into your room and celebrate. So that's why after like 8 p.m. my window is closed, which is
Is it that
why
bad?
I like the night. Yeah, it's really, really bad. It doesn't help that I live like close to a forest. Not a forest. It's not a forest per se, but it is a park.
Yeah, one thing that always I was supposed to go to the UK for uni as well, but I feel like it's a bit overrated, in my opinion, especially London.
Depends
It's
on the
not that,
university.
yeah, but I'd say London as a whole is not that good of a city to be in.
Unless you're rich,
Expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive and you might get stabbed.
Or acid thrown on you, yeah.
Yeah,
Just the way it is. Just the
I'm
way it
glad
is.
to living in
everyday
Germany,
things.
bro.
Germany's nice.
Germany's nice.
Germany's
Yeah.
nice.
I'm
You
not
guys
that
are really
close to Munich.
civilized.
Let me
I'm
tell
more
you
like
something.
close to Frankfurt.
Once you've been to other places, once you lived in other places, I didn't use when I was a kid. I didn't take Germany for granted. Once I moved to England, I was like, damn, I should have realized what I had, because England is so much worse.
How long did you live in Germany?
11 years,
Oh,
the first 11 of my life, of my poor innocent life.
Well, when did you start the channel? Because I remember watching you. I think I started watching you in 2015.
Yeah, 2015. Because 2014 is when I started writing about football, and 2015 is when I started talking about football. That's what it is.
I remember I was I was younger, obviously, and I was a lot crazier about Bayern. I would obsess over it. It's all I would do, and there were no channels talking exclusively about Bayern.
yeah.
You were
I
the only
think I
one.
started watching. Started
You were
watching
the
when he
only
talked
one.
about Götze.
Yeah,
To
but
Bayern. I think that was the first video I've seen.
this new guy came up now as well. There's another one, I think. I don't know what his name is. I don't
There's
watch him.
5. There's
Yeah.
5. I'll be honest. I don't watch other Bayern fans. I don't actually watch other Bundesliga fans in general. I don't know why. I like watching all the other fan channels, like all the Premier League fan channels, there are a few La Liga fan channels, a few neutral fan channels as well. But when it comes to the Bundesliga, I just don't, because I feel like every time I disagree with somebody, because I have so much knowledge about the Bundesliga and Bayern, it's a lot more difficult for me to watch someone that I massively disagree with. So that's why I don't.
Wait, what? Tell me something you would disagree on.
All right. The typical thing that I always hear is that Dortmund is the second biggest team in Germany, or that Dortmund are the title rivals.
No, it's
or
Leipzig, right?
It's always been Leipzig. It's been Leipzig since Leipzig joined the Bundesliga.
Well, I'd say
Or that
those two
nah,
aren't
Dortmund is not
mutually
even close.
exclusive.
Dortmund, if you were to ask me, Dortmund is currently 4th or 5th. And I'm not just saying that because of the
What is
position
the
in the
power
league,
ranking
but
on
I'm
the
just
Bundesliga
saying.
right now?
Say that again.
What is the power ranking on the Bundesliga right now? Like your own big table, without
Bayern,
the current team.
Leipzig,
Yeah.
Leverkusen, and then you've probably got Dortmund. I know Leverkusen are not that high on the table. I know Dortmund, they're not that high on the table either. But that would be my current power ranking. And if you were to ask me next season,
how bad Leverkusen is in the international competition. They're so bad. I don't get it.
I mean that's for all German teams. You look at Gladbach. Gladbach did so well in the group stage, and then they had their bad form in the league, and suddenly, bang, they crash out. Dortmund, usually they would crash out as well. I'm actually surprised they didn't this time. So there are plenty of teams, German teams specifically, that will do so well against us, especially in the league. They'll come and fight us and come and play their best football that they've ever played. Gladbach beating us 9 times out of 10 because they're just our bogey team, and they've got Leverkusen who just do well. And then suddenly when it's against even a mid-sized team in the Champions League or the Europa
against
League,
which team? Like what? They lost to Bern. I don't even know what the fuck. They lost to fucking young boy Bern.
But I think this all goes back to what you said before. They don't have the big team mentality. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But
it's that prestigious mentality that we are here and this is our competition. They don't have that. There are only a few teams in the world that have that.
If I'm being honest, I feel like slapping every Premier League team fan when they say that the English teams are better than the German teams, because that simply isn't true. If you place them head to head, not in the Champions League, but all with the same mentality, we would the German teams would absolutely destroy them.
I'm not sure about that one.
I don't know about that
think they
one.
would.
Nah, bro, I don't think so. I don't think any German team besides Bayern, Leipzig, Dortmund can beat
Dude,
any of the
I
top
think
six
I
leagues of
think
the Premier League.
overall the German teams are better. Like if you take all of them as a whole. But I don't know. I also feel like when it comes to Dortmund, people say they're the second biggest team, not just like not they're not taking into account only performances. They're also like taking into account like popularity and stuff because Dortmund is the second biggest team in when it comes to like how popular they are and the hype and everything around them.
I mean, if we're being honest, the second biggest team in Germany is Hamburg.
Yeah,
But they're in the
me
second
too.
league, and that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Hamburg shouldn't be in the second league.
Well, I mean they should because that's where they are right now. But I don't know. Anyways,
But yeah, maybe I'm biased with Leverkusen because one of the players that they've recently signed, I've got his name now, but I used to go to school with his brother. So like I'm rooting for Leverkusen. That's why I have them currently as third best team in the Bundesliga in my power ranking. Because the right back that they signed, I used to go with his brother to school. Me and him used to play against each other as well. So I'm a little bit biased here, I must admit.
weren't we supposed to sign Bailey?
Say that again.
Weren't we supposed to
keep going.
sign Bailey?
No. Bailey's just one of those players that we're always linked with. Same with Brandt. We used to be linked with Brandt all the time until he moved to Dortmund. Just one of those
I'm
players that
so glad he moved to Dortmund.
But there are plenty of players like that are just extremely talented, that will do well for a season or two. We get linked with them, and then we don't actually buy them, and then suddenly those same players will just not perform anymore. That's basically what it is. Like now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get linked with Musa Diaby next season or this summer. I wouldn't be surprised at all because he's currently the new hot and the new big thing in the Bundesliga. But like once like in 2 years' time, once we haven't signed him, suddenly everyone will forget about him.
Remember Emre Moore?
Yeah, that's
The legend of Emre
another
Moore.
story.
Until Dortmund kicked him out because he didn't train hard enough. The legend.
Yeah, his card was super OP in FIFA, but it's been a while.
I want to know another controversial opinion. Give me another one. Except,
All right, here's one. Here's one that I think all he will even disagree with me right now. Tony Kroos is and has been for the last 10 years, give or take, the best midfielder in world football.
I disagree.
See? See?
For maybe I'd say De Bruyne recently, like last 3 years, has been miles above him.
But that's the thing. Like, I actually like discussing these things. I just don't like seeing other people talk about these things. Like when I can't talk back in that way. But like actually, in terms of like discussing these things, I'm always here for it because that's the interesting part of football. Discussing, do you think this person is better than that person? Why and what? But like when it actually comes to just listening to somebody say these things that I feel personally I have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, I get mad.
I feel like no. The thing is like, Kroos has been he's like obviously he's really good, but he's been so successful because his other midfield partners complement him so well, Modric and Casemiro, and Modric especially. Like, I'm sorry, but Kroos, he isn't the fastest. He's not the best dribbler. He isn't by far the best all-round midfielder. Like I'd say that's De Bruyne in my opinion. He's got absolutely everything. But for the past 10 years, I don't know. There's a couple I could name, but Kroos is obviously one of them. What about Modric, for example?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Modric will go down as a top 10 midfielder in the world in world football, which tells you how highly I rate Toni Kroos. That I think he's higher than Modric.
What about
Crazy, right?
What about De Bruyne once again?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope. Attacking midfielder, I think he's probably top 3, but that's about it.
Okay, I need to know something. I know you're a Bayern fan, but do you actually think Lewandowski is like the best player right now in the world, or
Yes.
in the last season?
Yes.
What about you, Brian TV?
Oh, okay. You don't want to hear my thoughts on Lewandowski. Ooh. 'Cause
Yeah, let's see.
I'm-
That's what I thought. I thought you were. I know some people saying, I mean, he's good, but if I don't think they would agree on that he's the best player in the world right now, because that's
I'm
quite
naturally
some.
biased against strikers because I think it's the most overrated position in world football. So I'm naturally always against strikers. If you ask me who would be my footballer of the year from last season, it would be Thomas Müller. That's what I would tell you. But Lewandowski would have won the Ballon d'Or. If the Ballon d'Or existed last season, Lewandowski would have won it. But if you ask me who would I have there, who would I give that trophy to? I'm not saying that because obviously I'm German, but I'm saying that because for me, Müller was the best player. For me, the reason that Lewandowski scored that many goals was because of Thomas Müller. So the person that I would give that trophy to would be Thomas Müller. Now, this season, however, the person that I would give that trophy to, and this is the most ridiculous part, the most ridiculous thing you'll probably hear all season because of our defensive record, I would give it to Neuer.
I would get. I disagree.
I know. I know.
I would do
Because
the
he's
exact
saving us,
opposite.
right?
I would have given it to Neuer last season and this season to Lewandowski because he's about to break Gerd Muller's record. Like Neuer has
Honestly, that
conceded.
record, that record, I can't hear any more about it. It's the most pointless record in world football.
It is
It doesn't earn you
pointless,
any
but
trophy.
it still is a record. Like, still means something, you know. But nah, who else is better than Lewandowski right now? Like, okay, Mbappe, but he plays in a shitty
And the
league.
thing with Mbappe, right? I'm going to say this. The thing about Mbappe and Neymar, and this is what annoys me so much. Neymar has played about 3 games in 2021. He's played
Yeah.
about 5 games in 2020. And now, because of how PSG knocked us out, people are saying that Neymar should get the Ballon d'Or because he's played about 8 games in the last 8 games this season. Mbappe had a slow start this season. He's had a slow middle this season. But then he showed up against Barcelona, and then he showed up against us, and suddenly he deserves Ballon d'Or shots. That's what annoys me the most. Like, I get it. Champions League competition is the biggest competition in world football. I get it. But for me, for you to get the Ballon d'Or, you have to perform week in, week out. It's not just about showing up in the big games. It's not just showing up in the important games. It's about showing up week in, week out. It's about showing up against the teams that you can't get. You don't want to get out of bed for. That's what made Ronaldo, that's what made Messi so special. Say what you want about their goal scoring records, but the thing that made them so special, for me at least, is that it didn't matter whether it was Elche, it didn't matter whether it was Getafe, it didn't matter whether it was in a Champions League final against Real Madrid or Barcelona, respectively. It didn't matter who it was up against, they would perform. And that's who should be given the Ballon d'Or. It's the players that perform week in, week out. That's why I don't like this Mbappe and Neymar shout personally. But that's just me. I don't actually have a bias against PSG, despite what people might think. I don't have a bias against PSG. I actually have a bias against Real Madrid, but you still see me give credit all the time to Real Madrid.
No.
So even if I have a bias against a team or for a team, I still give credit and I still give criticism wherever it's due. And by the way, I don't have a bias against Real Madrid because they knocked us out for like 4 times in a row in the Champions League. My bias started way before that. My bias against them started from when they kicked out Iker Casillas. That's when my bias against them started. It has nothing to do with them knocking us out because that's football. There's always a better team. There's always a worse team. But the way they treated their legend Iker Casillas is when I had issues with them. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done with that discussion because for me, bias or not, I don't hate PSG necessarily.
I have a huge bias against Neymar. I'm sorry, but I hate him. Especially, like, he's so cocky, he's so arrogant. I can't stand him at all. Like, he dives all over the place, all those theatrics. For what?
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
just
get
don't like
the
him as a
hate.
player.
I'm not that much.
Also, like, against Real Madrid, like, okay, they knocked us out 4 times, but how did they knock us out? I think you know what I'm talking about. It was mostly unfair most of the time.
Yeah, unfair refereeing decisions are still refereeing decisions. It is what it is. If you're not the better, I think. Look, I'm always someone that I don't really care what the referees do. Yes, I complain about them. sometimes, not often, honestly, but I complain about them sometimes. But like at the end of the day, if a referee is bad against you, you just gotta be good enough to turn it around, even if a referee is bad against you.
Yeah, but that Kasai game.
It is what it is. Made mistakes, okay.
Yeah,
So
actually, I
be
agree
it.
with you.
Bayern
Yeah.
Fan TV. What do you think about Haaland? I want to know your opinion on him. Is he that good, or is he kind of overrated? Is he
He's
even
overrated.
better than people think he is?
Haaland is not even the best striker at Dortmund.
Oh,
There you go.
Ooh.
There you go. There you go. That's my thoughts. And look, Haaland is going to end up breaking all sorts of goal scoring records. I have no doubt in my mind about that. He's going to break the record of Ronaldo, on who's got like 150 something Champions League goals. Haaland is going to break that by the time he finishes his career, right?
You think so?
But he's not. Yeah, absolutely.
there is no Champions League.
Um,
Yeah, but I get it. Yeah.
But like he's a amazing goal scorer, probably the best goal scorer in the Bundesliga. Yeah, that includes Lewandowski, but he's not the best striker. Dortmund's best striker, for example, is Mukoko. The best striker in the world is Lewandowski, but Haaland is the best finisher. He's got the best shot
I
on him.
agree.
He's so good at it. Yeah.
Nah, but even the Ronaldo thing, like even if he scores 10 plus goals every UCL season from now on, it's gonna be hard to break his record.
He's going to be playing until he's like 35. So 10 plus goals, he's 20.
Yeah, but
And he's already got like 30 goals in the Champions League alone.
I think we're forgetting the whole discussion today. The UCL is not going to exist starting next
Well,
year.
yeah, all right, okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair
So-
point.
I mean, he might as well have scored 1 million goals until now. They won't matter anymore. You know what I mean?
So
One
sad.
thing I'll say one thing I'll say now, because I've said it plenty of times on Twitter, but I don't know whether I've said it on video. Mukoko, give it 3-4 years. Actually, no, give it 5 years. Let's say 5. He's 16 right now. Give it 5 years. That's when he'll play football. Yeah, there we go. I've said it.
He's going to be the best striker.
Best striker and best player in world football. And I'm usually biased against strikers.
You think he's going to be ESL world champion?
No comment.
He's our best player award will be him.
How is that even going to work? I don't understand. And what about the Ballon d'Or?
I think the Ballon d'Or will be useless, like worthless after it.
Will they even keep into account what happens in the ESL? Like, what is going to happen?
They have to.
I don't know if they have to, because all competition. I mean, nah. Ballon d'Or is France football. It's not FIFA or whatever.
That's the UEFA best. That would be
Yeah.
UEFA.
I don't know. We all know Ballon d'Or is bullshit, so it is what it is.
I mean, I'm generally always against individual awards, so for me, it doesn't really matter. I've never cared about these individual awards. I'll probably never will care about these individual awards. I don't care about these individual records, like the Lewandowski and the Gerd Müller record. I don't care.
But I'd say that a big part of that stems from the fact that we're part of the Messi Ronaldo generation.
No, even with them, I didn't care. I never cared about them. Even when Ribéry was up there, I never cared. Even before like the Messi and Ronaldo era really started, I never cared about these things because I knew those were biased. Because a defender doesn't win it, and for me, defending is the most important skill in football. Because you can miss 10 chances in football as a striker, and if you score a goal, everyone says, "Okay, amazing, brilliant." But as a defender, you make one mistake, it results either in a goal or it results in a penalty or whatnot, and then you're screwed because everyone will think, "Oh, you can do whatever you want the rest of the match," but people will say, "Well, that you made that one mistake and that led to that goal."
Yeah,
so for me, defending is the most important skill.
Go ahead.
No, all I'm going to say is for me, it's the most important, most vital skill in football, and that's why for me, defenders should always be the ones that win it. And I'm not saying that because I love playing as a defender, but I played all positions when I played football. I played all positions from goal to defense to fullback to midfield, and I even filled in as a striker as well. right? So I played all positions because I was the captain, and basically whenever in club football, when I played as a kid, basically whenever someone didn't show up, I would fill in that for the position because I was the captain. So it was just that simple. So I played all positions before.
I 100% agree with you. Like, it's a lot harder to be a good defender than it is to be a good attacker, in my opinion. Plus, like, it's a lot like there's a lot less incentive because scoring goals is fun. You know,
True.
everybody wants to be a striker. Nobody wants to be a defender.
And you're always in the headlights. Whenever you score a goal, it's not the defense that's been written about. It's you, the person that scored that goal.
Yeah, but I'd say maybe being a defender isn't the hardest. Maybe being a midfielder is the hardest position because it's a combination of both. But I don't know. That's
See,
another discussion.
I would disagree because as a midfielder, you're reliant more so on the structure of the team. You're part of the structure and you're also relying on the surrounding structure of the team. So, like, for me, it's not the hardest position because that being a midfielder is more about team effort. Being a defender, you make an individual error and you cost your team a goal.
Yeah, true. I remember.
But that's a whole different discussion because, like, people will massively disagree with me because who likes defenders? Like, nobody likes defenders, and I'm like, but defenders are so much better than attackers.
Nah, 100% makes sense. Like, being a defender is a lot harder. That's why you don't see them winning Ballon d'Ors. And you see
for
all
me,
the
they
attackers
should.
winning.
For me, they
Yeah.
should.
Well, tell that to France football. I don't know. I feel
Tell
like
the fans, bro. The fans at the end are also important. I
yeah,
mean, I never seen a Boateng fan page, but you will certainly see hundreds of Lewandowski fan pages.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Also, like, look at what happened to Boateng after Messi absolutely destroyed his career. Like, everybody was going crazy. You don't see people going crazy over Hernandez doing a proper tackle or something. No.
Exactly.
Or Werner missing one of the biggest, like, easiest goals. Everyone has forgotten about it, but Boateng, he always will be shown this clip. It's sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, Boateng can show Messi his World Cup. They'll be even.
I bet he does.
Just to go to that point, Brian München, it should be goalkeeper. That's what I said earlier. For me, Neuer. For me, Neuer this season should win the Ballon d'Or, but he won't because people. That's the issue, and this isn't an issue with. Look, okay, it is an issue, but it's not an issue that I blame people for. People don't know how to evaluate goalkeepers. With all the other positions, I feel like people know how to evaluate goalkeepers. But when it comes, they know how to evaluate other positions. They know how to evaluate strikers, because this guy, he's scoring. He gets one chance and he's scoring. Amazing. If he doesn't score, well, he's trash. Whereas with goalkeepers, they don't know how to evaluate him. They don't know how to evaluate goalkeepers. So for me, I don't blame people for that issue, but I feel like it's one of those things that comes with actually having played that position. And obviously, I granted, not everyone's going to have that chance. Not everyone's going to be in that position to play football or to play as a goalkeeper as well. But like, you realize the more you watch football, you realize what a good save is and what a bad save is. And I feel like people, they're just ignorant to that. They just look at, conceded a goal, that means the goalkeeper's at fault. Or, saved a shot, that the goalkeeper is great. They don't actually realize how, okay, that was a difficult save or that was an easy save. They're just, okay, this and that. Well, that let's look at it black and white. Well, when it's not, there's for goalkeepers, there's a lot more nuance that people don't want to give them credit for, which I don't like personally, but it is what it is. Defense is an art. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I don't really have that much left to say. I mean, guess thanks for letting me in.
No worries.
I guess we'll see today, actually. We'll see what happens today and hope for the best, I guess.
Yep, precisely. For all of you that have been in chat, some of you have been here for a long, long time. We've been streaming for 3 hours and 30 minutes, so we've been streaming for a long, long time. So I just wanted to say this. Thank you to everyone that's joined, and thank you to everyone that's still in chat. Unless you've got anything, I mean, if you want to plug yourself, go ahead and do so. If you want to share your social medias, if that's something that you're interested in. But if not,
No,
then
I
I'll
just have
see.
one question for you.
Go on.
Do you think Flick is gonna stay?
No,
You don't think so?
no, I didn't think that a month ago. I don't think that now.
Yeah, because I watched the video today. The video you posted. You said something like you thought he was gonna leave when the rumors started coming in for sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
people hate sport build and people hate build so much. But the truth is, whenever they come out with something, there's usually where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And build, yes, they're a tabloid. Yes, a lot of the times they just make things up. But when they stick to a story, they're rarely ever wrong. Like the big things, they usually always get the first scoop. They always have the big scoop on. It's the little things that they always get wrong. But like, I know people hate them because they always paint a narrative, but then it always turns out that the narrative is true. So, can you shoot the messenger? No. That's kind of the thing.
Well, yeah, but as far as I heard, like he wants to leave, but it's not a sure thing yet. Like they might be able to convince him not to leave.
Yeah, Bayern made a statement today. Let's see if I can pull it up very quickly just to end this video off. But Bayern made a statement today that essentially said that, instead of paraphrasing them, let me actually read you the statement because I've got it right now. So Bayern basically said, yesterday, Saturday, FC Bayern head coach Hansi Flick made public his wishes to terminate his contract, which runs until June 2023 at the end of the current season. Hansi Flick had informed the FC Bayern München AG executive board of his wish during the past week. Hansi Flick and FC Bayern had agreed to place the focus on the matches against Wolfsburg, Bayer Leverkusen, and Mainz in order to not disrupt the concentration of the whole club on these three important matches. FC Bayern disapproves of the unilateral communications issued by Hansi Flick and will continue talks after the match at Mainz. After the match at Mainz, it should be after the match at Mainz, as agreed. So basically, after the match against Mainz on the 24th of April, they're going to sit down. They're going to talk with him. So to me, look, there are some people that cling on to hope, but he's gone. He's gone. That's all I gotta say. He's gone.
Yeah. Also, just one thing, and then I'm gonna leave. Have you heard of the Facebook page, the Bayern Times?
Yes.
It used to be Bayern Munich is my DNA.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think I actually joined as like a moderator a long time ago, but just I don't use Facebook.
Wait, who
Yeah.
will leave? My internet crashed. What did you say? Who will leave?
No, I just asked if Flick was gonna leave, and he said he thinks he's gonna leave for sure.
Oh,
But I guess we shall see.
I
any
think he
case-
will leave as well. Yeah, I can't see
Yeah.
him staying after all this.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us in. Hopefully you do this like other times as well. Because I know you.
I do try and make these more regular. I do try, but it just doesn't work out that well because of my sleep schedule. Just doesn't work out that fantastic.
Let's hope football isn't there, and it is.
Nah, it's pretty much dead already.
Alright.
It's just
Well, at least hope.
who's gonna
Bayern
take
will
the
shit
final
on it.
shot? That's the question. We'll see. Anyways, well, thanks for
Anyway,
letting us.
have a good evening, everyone, or good night, or good day, wherever you are. And thank you, everyone, for being in here. Until next time, peace out and bye.
So,
Yeah,
bye.
same. Bye. Until next
Bye.
time. See you.
Next time. Bye.